Chapter 116. Wang Daoyuan followed the canyon for another 200 miles or so. Here not a single blade of grass grew, there were no spiritual items, and he couldn't feel a trace of spiritual energy. This was the land of desolation. In the land of desolation, the spiritual energy in his body was constantly flowing away. Even if he tried his best to suppress it, he could only reduce the speed of the loss. Fortunately, the speed of the loss of spiritual energy wasn't too outrageous, and it wouldn't affect him too much for a short period of time. This land of desolation was also in the canyon. It was more than 10 miles long from north to south, and 3 to 4 miles wide from east to west. He carefully searched the entire land of desolation. Other than the lack of spiritual energy, there was nothing out of the ordinary. Wang Daoyuan laughed. This thing that absorbs spiritual energy is quite good at hiding. He wasn't in a hurry. After waiting for a few hours in the land of desolation, everything in the space of the spirit bead was normal. It wasn't affected by the land of desolation. In this way he could guarantee that there would be no shortage of spiritual energy, so he dared to cause trouble in the land of desolation. He operated his cultivation technique and condensed a pure spiritual energy ball in his hand. He released the spiritual energy ball and used his divine sense to control it so that it wouldn't disperse. The spiritual energy ball was pulled by a force and floated towards the south. Seeing this, he laughed. Let's see how you can hide now. The spiritual energy ball floated to the middle of the land of desolation, and its floating speed suddenly accelerated. A moment later, the spiritual energy ball hit a rock on the east side of the canyon and disappeared. The connection between the spiritual energy ball and his divine sense was also instantly cut off. This rock was more than 5 feet tall and 3 feet wide. It was dark green and didn't have a trace of spiritual energy. Wang Daoyuan couldn't see what was so special about this rock. He used his divine sense to explore the inside of the dark green rock. He didn't expect this rock to block the power of divine sense. His divine sense couldn't penetrate it at all. He used the heaven-peering technique to explore the rock with his divine sense, but the result was the same. The power of divine sense was useless. This rock was completely ignored. He directly took out the profound yang sword and slashed it. His hand was shaken to the point of pain, but the rock was unharmed, not even a trace was left. The sharp metal sword slashed, but there was no movement. Then Wang Daoyuan used all the basic spells of the 5 elements, but the rock was still the same. He took out the 5 dragon soul-chasing whip and whipped the rock 5 times in a row, but not even a stone fragment was left behind. After that he used the feather blade, soul-extinguishing bell, soul-splitting blade and other techniques of the golden rock wrestling dragon technique, but they were all useless. He also used the physics principles that he had learned in his previous life, thermal expansion and contraction, to attack first with fire spells, and then with water spells to lower the temperature. If a normal rock were to be manipulated in such a manner, it would crumble very quickly, but this rock did not change at all. Wang Daoyuan was in despair. He sat down on the ground and took out a cup of hidden cloud tea and a jar of red blood wine from the space to restore his spirit energy and divine sense. When he took out the hidden cloud tea, the indestructible rock seemed to fluctuate slightly. This fluctuation was extremely subtle, and Wang Daoyuan's attention was not on the rock. He thought he had sensed wrongly. When he took out the wine jar, the ripples on the rock became obvious. Wang Daoyuan was certain that this was not an illusion. He took out a few spirit grains, a jasper watermelon, a long-eared rabbit, and a yun-yi tiger from the space of the spirit pearl. After comparison, he found that the bigger the things he took out from the space of the spirit pearl, the more obvious the ripples on the rock. The long-eared rabbit and yun-yi tiger wanted to have fun after coming out, but when they found that there was no trace of spirit energy around them, they bounced around him, wanting to return to the space of the spirit pearl. He put the long-eared rabbit and yun-yi back into the space, and the dark green rock fluctuated twice again. Wang Daoyuan pondered for a while and made some inferences about this dark green rock. This rock ignored divine sense and spirit energy attacks, but it reacted when things were taken out of the space of the spirit pearl. Taking out things from the space of the spirit pearl involved the Tao of space. The Tao of space was extremely brilliant but also extremely common. The storage bag was the lowest level of the Tao of space. He inferred that this rock might be reacting to the Tao of space. In order to confirm his guess, he took out a storage bag and opened it next to the dark green rock. Sure enough, the rock fluctuated slightly. Moreover, the closer the storage bag was to the rock, the greater the fluctuation. There was no doubt that the rock was reacting to the Tao of space. Wang Daoyuan had more than 30 storage bags on him, including the storage bags used to store materials in the space of the spirit pearl, and a few spirit beast bags. He took out all the storage bags, placed them in front of the dark green rock and opened them at the same time. The dark green rock emitted a violent fluctuation, and then a door more than 5 feet tall and 1 foot wide opened. Wang Daoyuan didn't dare to enter rashly, so he put in a few soul-chasing bees. After waiting for half an hour, the soul-chasing bees didn't encounter any danger, so he dared to enter the door. As soon as he entered the door, he felt an extremely pure spirit energy. The spirit energy here wasn't very dense, only comparable to the spirit energy near a high-grade rank 1 spirit vein, but it was extremely pure. No matter how dense the spirit energy outside was, it was mixed with many non-spirit energy components such as dust, air and so on. But here there was only spirit energy in the air and nothing else. Cultivators or spirit beasts could get twice the result with half the effort if they cultivated here, but mortals couldn't survive here at all. After he entered the door, he also brought in the storage bags and the door closed instantly. His divine sense couldn't detect the situation outside at all. This was a completely sealed secret realm. The so-called secret realm was a small independent world. It was not directly connected to the outside world, but it was inextricably linked. Secret realms could evolve naturally. Spatial treasures like the spirit pearl space were refined from natural secret realms. It could also be artificially created. Some high-level cultivators' caves or tombs could be artificially created secret realms. Whether this secret realm evolved naturally or artificially created by high-level cultivators, it was impossible to confirm. After entering the door, there was a narrow cave in front of him, only enough for one person to enter and exit. He let out the soul-chasing bees to lead the way and walked forward along the cave. After walking for more than a mile, there was light in front. Wang Daoyuan stood at the entrance of the cave looking out and saw a lush green. Outside the cave was a wide space. The ground of the space was covered with grass and low shrubs. Occasionally there were a few tall trees. Grass and trees were everywhere, but none of them were ordinary plants. All of them were spiritual plants and they were all ranked, but their ranks weren't high. The highest was only a first-grade spiritual plant. The strangest thing was that many of the spiritual plants were not suitable to live in this environment. For example, the snow country grass in front of him could only grow in places where ice and snow didn't melt all year round, but it could actually grow in this secret realm that wasn't cold. Apart from being a little sickly, there was nothing unusual about it. This secret realm was really unusual. He continued to walk forward and soon he saw a few spiritual plants. These spiritual plants looked similar to alfalfa, and their flowers were purple gold. They were called purple gold alfalfa and were excellent pasture. In the spirit pearl space there were long-eared rabbits and golden rock antelopes that ate grass, and the fierce blood boar could also eat grass, so it was good to have a high-quality pasture. He casually transplanted the alfalfa into the spirit pearl space, and ordered his clone to take good care of it. After that he continued to walk forward. This secret realm was very big and he walked more than 15 miles, but he still couldn't see the end. As he went deeper, the spirit chi became denser and it was very close to a second-grade spiritual heritage. The spiritual plants around him also increased in rank, and although there were no second-grade spiritual plants, they were no longer sickly and were very energetic. Chapter 117. At this time, some dead plants appeared around Wang Daoyuan, and they were all of high quality. Many of them were second-rank spiritual plants. As he continued to walk forward, the living plants were still first-rank high quality, but the dead plants were getting higher and higher in quality. Some second-rank high-quality dead plants had already appeared. He also found something wrong. After walking for dozens of miles into the secret realm, he didn't see a single demonic beast or native spiritual insect. Could it be that demonic beasts and spiritual insects couldn't survive in this secret realm? However, he had been here for so long and didn't feel any discomfort. The soul-chasing bees that he released to scout the way also didn't do anything abnormal. He released his divine sense to explore the surroundings, even the underground, but he still didn't find any living things other than plants. The strange environment made his hair stand on end. He took out the sharp gold sword and put the jade pendant on his body, ready to deal with any sudden danger. However, since he was already here, he really didn't want to leave without a big harvest. He braced himself and continued to walk forward. After walking for more than 10 miles, he finally found something related to demonic beasts. The skeleton of a second-rank demonic beast, the iron-horned bull. If it weren't for the iconic big horns that were still shining with a metallic light, he really wouldn't have recognized the skeleton. He carefully walked over and touched the skeleton with the sharp gold sword. The skeleton instantly collapsed and even the big horns were broken. It might have been dead for too long and the skeleton had long decayed. It was just that it wasn't affected by the outside world, so it was still in its original state. Once touched, it shattered. The iron-horned bull had been dead for a long time, and it didn't die in a secret place, but it hadn't been touched for a long time. From this phenomenon, it could be inferred that after this iron-horned bull died, there were almost no demonic beasts or spiritual insects in this place. Now this place could support demonic beasts and spiritual insects, which meant that this place had suffered a great change and then slowly recovered. For a secret realm to recover, it would need a huge amount of spiritual energy, so it could be explained that there was a place with no spiritual energy outside. Of course, this was just speculation and there was no sufficient evidence. He walked to the side of a withered spiritual tree and gently poked it with his sharp golden sword. The withered spiritual tree instantly turned into a pile of debris. Wang Daoyuan sighed and said, "As expected, it's a spiritual tree that's been dead for a long time. It seems like my guess is quite accurate." After traveling for another 50 or so miles, they encountered many withered spiritual trees and demonic beast skeletons along the way. Similarly, they all shattered upon contact. The concentration of spirit chi here had already reached the level of a low-grade level 2 spirit vein, and the living spirit plants nearby had also appeared to be level 2. In front of him was a bamboo forest. This was a rank 2 mid-grade spirit plant, green jade bamboo. The green jade bamboo was not considered rare in the outside world. It was often used to refine second-tier wood attribute magic tools, and its value was quite high. When he saw the green jade bamboo, he thought of the wood attribute Dharma artifact. Only then did he realize that there was a problem with this arcane realm. The spirit chi here was actually of the wood attribute. Even when he had just entered this secret realm, the spirit chi was still of the wood attribute and had not been converted into spirit chi of other attributes. There should be something in this secret realm that was suppressing the transformation of the 5 elements. It was no wonder that there were no living demonic beasts or spirit insects here. In an environment where the 5 elements were incomplete, it was difficult for demonic beasts and spirit insects to survive. This did not mean that other living creatures would die when they entered, but that the spirit chi here could not support the survival of demonic beasts. When demonic beasts from outside came in, they would not die immediately, but they would also not be able to reproduce here. Demonic beasts and spirit plants were different. Spirit plants only needed wood attribute spirit chi to survive and reproduce normally. On the other hand, demonic beasts and even humans needed an environment with all 5 elements to be able to reproduce. The 5 elements could be unbalanced. For example, near the earth fire spirit chi was rich, but the spirit chi of other attributes still existed. The imbalance of the 5 elements could be as severe as it wanted, but it must not be lacking. In an environment where there was only wood attribute spirit chi, cultivators who cultivated wood attribute cultivation techniques or wood attribute demonic beasts could still survive, although they could not reproduce. Cultivators and demonic beasts who did not cultivate wood attribute spirit chi would not be able to survive for long here. This should be the reason why there were no demonic beasts here despite the lush vegetation. This kind of environment did not affect Wang Daoyuan much. He possessed the 5 elements spiritual roots and had also cultivated the 5 elements cultivation method. As long as the spirit chi's attribute did not exceed the range of the 5 elements, he could use his cultivation technique to refine wood attribute spirit chi into wood attribute spirit chi, and then convert it into spirit chi of other attributes. The spirit chi in his body was also of the 5 elements. The soul-chasing bee was a non-elemental spirit insect, which meant that it had all 5 elements. Could refine wood attribute spirit chi. Although it could not change the attribute of spirit chi at will, it could still survive normally. However, this kind of special environment with spirit chi of a single attribute was especially suitable for cultivation. If a cultivator who majored in wood attribute cultivation techniques came here, even if he had multiple spirit roots, his cultivation speed would not be much slower than a celestial spirit root. and the quality of the condensed true essence would be similar. What Wang Daoyuan was more interested in was what suppressed the mutual generation of the 5 elements. If he could use it for cultivation, he would be able to cultivate completely pure spirit qi and condense high-quality true essence, and the difficulty of foundation establishment would be greatly reduced. He could not let go of the green jade bamboo in front of him. This was a rank 2 spirit plant and its value was extremely high. He planned to dig up a few stalks of green jade bamboo and transplant them into the space of the spirit pearl. However, he underestimated the difficulty of this matter. Bamboo was a spirit plant of the same origin, and the roots of a large bamboo forest were all connected together. To transplant a bamboo stalk, one had to cut off the bamboo whip. How could a rank 2 spirit bamboo's bamboo whip be so easy to cut off? He could only use rank 2 low-grade golden saber talismans to attack the bamboo whip, and 3 golden saber talismans were needed to cut off a bamboo whip. In the end, he only transplanted 1 stalk of green jade bamboo and did not dare to use too many golden saber talismans. After all, he was in a dangerous place and had to leave some rank 2 spirit talismans to save his life. Next, he had to carefully look for something that suppressed the mutual generation of the 5 elements. He had a hunch that this thing was definitely not simple and might be of great use to him. Walking into the bamboo forest, he found that the concentration of spirit qi here was still increasing. The thing he was looking for was very likely to be in the place with the richest spirit qi. After walking in the green jade bamboo forest for half a quarter of an hour, the concentration of spirit qi in the surroundings was comparable to that of a rank 2 mid-grade spirit vein. He ordered the soul-chasing bee to find the place with the richest spirit qi. The soul-chasing bee brought him to a peach tree. This peach tree was only about 3 feet tall and was not conspicuous in the green jade bamboo forest. However, this peach tree was luxuriant, and there were 2 or 3 branches with peach blossoms on the tree crown. The concentration of spirit qi near the peach tree was higher than other places, and it was comparable to that of a rank 2 high-grade spirit vein. Other than that, there was nothing special about this peach tree. It did not even have a trace of spirit qi fluctuation, and it was just like an ordinary peach tree. Using his divine sense to probe, he did not find any clues. He used the sharp golden sword to lightly poke the peach tree. This luxuriant peach tree, full of vitality and even blooming flowers, actually turned into debris like the dead wood he had encountered before. Chapter 118. Wang Daoyuan was a little scared. He seemed to have destroyed the core of this mystic realm. Scanning the surroundings and probing with divine sense, he did not find any changes. Only then did he relax. The core of the mystic realm was related to the stability of the mystic realm. If the core was destroyed, the entire mystic realm would collapse very quickly. Now that there were no signs of this mystic realm collapsing, he also relaxed. This peach tree was definitely not an ordinary item. He originally wanted to transplant it into the space of the spiritual pearl, but did not expect it to shatter with a touch. The mystic realm was very big and was filled with all kinds of spirit plants. There were also many valuable ones. Wouldn't it be a pity if he did not plunder them? He walked out of the bamboo forest and began to search for the spirit medicines needed for foundation establishment. This mystic realm had existed for God knows how many years. No human cultivators had set foot in it, so it might have preserved many rare species. At present, what he needed most was the spirit medicines to refine the foundation establishment pill. No matter how precious the other spirit medicines were, compared to the foundation establishment pill, they were still lacking. If he could find the true essence fruit, it would be a big gain. The 3 main ingredients of the foundation establishment pill, dragon crouching vine and blood jade ginseng, would appear on the market once every 100 years. And the true essence fruit, according to records, had not appeared on the market for more than 2,000 years, not to mention the true essence fruit tree. This mystic realm most likely did not have native demonic beasts, so there was not much danger. He directly released all the soul-chasing bees and ordered them to search for a foundation establishment pill spirit medicine. He himself used the divine walking technique and quickly traveled through the mystic realm. He spread out his divine sense and scanned the spirit plants one by one, finding the valuable ones among them. The effect was really good. A few hours later, he found 7 or 8 kinds of supplementary herbs for the foundation establishment pill. Previously in Green Willow State for more than half a year, he also received several kinds of foundation establishment pill supplementary herbs. Up until now, he already had more than 10 kinds of foundation establishment pill supplementary herbs. He only lacked the dragon tendon grass to protect the meridians, and he could collect all the supplementary herbs. This mystic realm had a radius of several hundred miles, but there was no danger. For 1,000 over soul-chasing bees it was really not too big. A few hours later, they searched the entire mystic realm but did not find traces of the Foundation Establishment pill's main ingredient. Wang Daoyuan sighed and said, "Looks like it's not so easy to reach Foundation Establishment." Just as he was about to look for other valuable spirit herbs, a violent fluctuation of spirit qi came from the green jade bamboo forest. Then a beam of green light shot up into the sky, as if a heavenly treasure had been born. Wang Daoyuan recalled the soul-chasing wasp and used the swift art to rush towards the bamboo forest. Only when he got closer did he realize that the spiritual qi fluctuations were coming from the pile of peach tree fragments. At this moment, the pile of peachwood fragments was burning fiercely. This flame wasn't an ordinary yellow or red flame, but a jade-green color. As the flames burned fiercely, a wave of fresh air blew against his face. Under the nourishment of this fresh aura, the spirit qi of the surrounding green jade bamboos became stronger and stronger, far surpassing that of their counterparts in the distance. Some bamboos even directly evolved. This fresh aura could actually allow spirit plants to advance. How could he let go of such a good thing? He immediately walked forward, wanting to take the peachwood fragments and the dark green flame into the space of the spirit pearl. However, these fragments and flames simply couldn't be moved by divine sense. When divine sense probed over, the fragments and flames were completely unmoved. He could only watch helplessly as the fragments slowly burned, and the flames gradually extinguished. It made his heart ache so much that he shed tears. There was such a heavenly treasure that no one was fighting for, yet he couldn't take it for his own use. This was the greatest pain in the world. Half an hour later, the peach tree fragments were all burned clean, leaving only a pile of ashes. Just as Wang Daoyuan was lamenting, a trace of spirit qi fluctuation was emitted from the ashes, and there was even a fresh aura that could allow spirit plants to advance. He pounced forward and used his hands to push aside the ashes. Under the ashes was a peach tree sapling that was 3 to 4 inches tall, emitting extremely weak spirit qi fluctuations. The top bud of this peach tree sapling was also emitting a trace of fresh aura. Wang Daoyuan used his divine sense to probe over and saw that there was actually an extremely fine flame burning in the top bud. Although the flame in the top bud was extremely fine, it was exactly the same as the green flame that burned the peach tree fragments and caused the surrounding green jade bamboos to advance. He was extremely excited. This is a true heavenly treasure. If I can transplant this peach tree sapling into the space of the spirit pearl, I'll have struck it big. At this time, the ground of the secret realm trembled slightly, and there was a trend of it becoming stronger and stronger. Before he could react to what was going on, he saw a crack appear in the distant sky. There were no sun, moon, or stars in the sky of the secret realm. Everywhere was gray and hazy. At this time, a pitch-black crack appeared in the distance. The crack was constantly expanding and things were constantly falling. The ground also began to crack and huge cracks appeared, spreading towards the bamboo forest. This was clearly the secret realm about to collapse. Previously, when the peach tree turned into fragments, the secret realm didn't move. He originally thought that the peach tree wasn't the secret realm's core, but he didn't expect it to be true. He originally wanted to transplant this peach tree sapling into the space of the spirit pearl, and then plunder some valuable spirit plants, but now it seemed impossible. He dug out the peach tree sapling along with its roots and put it into the space of the spirit pearl. After transplanting the peach tree sapling, the speed of the secret realm's collapse suddenly became much faster. The cracks in the sky and ground spread rapidly, and the secret realm could completely collapse at any time. He didn't dawdle and directly used his trump card, a middle-grade level 2 divine travel talisman. Then he drove the wind-stepping boots on his feet with all his might, sprinting towards the door he came from. In less than 15 minutes he arrived in front of that greenish-black rock. He immediately took out all his storage bags and opened them in front of the rock. The door appeared again. At this time the cave also began to collapse. He passed through the door and put away his storage bags. After the door closed, the entire cliff started to shake and huge rocks kept rolling down the cliff. Wang Daoyuan didn't stop and immediately ran along the canyon towards the south. Soon he ran more than 200 miles away. The collapse of the secret realm caused such a huge commotion in the outside world. Once the shaking stopped, there would be high-level demon beasts coming to investigate very quickly. If he continued to stay here, he would be waiting for high-level demon beasts to kill him. In addition, he felt that this place of death was starting to have weak spirit chi. This was also very normal. There was no spirit chi previously, which was the result of the secret realm absorbing spirit chi from the outside world. Now that the secret realm had collapsed, the level of spirit chi in the entire canyon would return to normal. At that time, there would be a large number of level 2 and even level 3 demon beasts coming to fight for territory. If he didn't leave quickly when the demon beasts entered the canyon en masse and prepared to fight for territory, a human cultivator would wander around here. At that time he would be facing hundreds of level 2 demon beasts alone. He didn't have time to wait for Yun-Yi to carry him out. He found a cliff that wasn't particularly dangerous and prepared to climb up. He didn't dare to climb the cliff before because he was afraid that there would be a sneak attack by flying demon beasts midway. He wouldn't even be able to find a place to escape. Now that he was in a place of death and the cliff was shaking violently, no demon beasts would dare to come over in a short time. He released a few soul-chasing bees and went to the top of the cliff to see if there were any level 2 demon beasts nearby. He didn't want to directly fall into the mouth of a demon beast after climbing up. Not long after, the soul-chasing bees returned and didn't find any level 2 demon beasts nearby. They were probably scared away by the violent shaking of the cliff. He didn't dare to dawdle anymore. Holding the sharp golden sword in his hand, he stabbed it into the stone wall as a point of strength and climbed up the cliff. This place was already far away from the center of the shaking. The cliff didn't shake too violently and not many stones rolled down. The cliff was still stable. There were also no demon beasts attacking. A height of 10,000 feet was not difficult for cultivators. In less than a quarter of an hour he successfully climbed up the cliff. Chapter 119. In order to avoid being targeted by the black cloud wolf again, Wang Daoyuan changed all his clothes and shoes and washed his body with a water attribute spell. Although the nearby monsters were scared away by the shaking of the cliff, he still didn't dare to let his guard down. He released dozens of soul-chasing bees to scout ahead. He first went west, leaving the unknown area, and entered the area that the cultivators of Green Willow Province had explored. After that he didn't dare to go west directly back to Green Willow Province for fear of encountering the black cloud wolf again. Instead he turned southwest and planned to return from Beiyuan Lake. The collapse of the secret realm and the shaking of the cliff could be felt thousands of miles away. The monsters didn't know what was going on. They either ran away to hide or lay in their nests, not daring to run around. With the soul-chasing bees leading the way, he didn't encounter many monsters along the way. His journey was very smooth. There were no pursuers behind him. If he encountered a monster, he just had to go around it and the monster wouldn't take the initiative to attack. The journey back from the secret realm was more than 1,000 miles long, but there weren't many twists and turns. It only took 2 days to reach the south of Beiyuan Lake and return to Green Willow Province by boat. Although he narrowly escaped death, it didn't take much time. It was less than 10 days from departure to return. After returning to the shop, he used his divine sense to enter the space of the spiritual pearl to take a good look at the harvest of this trip. The purple gold alfalfa was growing very well. This thing was too attractive to herbivorous spirit beasts. The long-eared rabbit and golden rock antelope always wanted to eat it. In order to be able to grow a large amount in the future, the clone old Zhao protected the purple gold alfalfa very well. The long-eared rabbit and golden rock antelope staple food was still spirit grain straw. Yun-Yi finally had a playmate of equal strength. When she had nothing to do, she would provoke the fierce blood boar. However, she was often chased by 2 adult fierce blood boars. Thanks to its flying ability, it was never injured. The fierce blood boars liked the environment of the space very much. Not to mention the abundant spirit chi, there was also a large number of jade watermelons for them to eat. If it wasn't for Yun-Yi's harassment, it would be perfect. The jade bamboo was also alive and had begun to grow. It wouldn't be long before new bamboo shoots would grow. The peach sapling was planted next to the hidden cloud tea tree. Nearly 2 months had passed in the space, but there was no obvious change in the peach sapling. The only difference was that the fluctuation of spiritual energy had become stronger. On the other hand, the hidden cloud tea beside him had changed a lot. It was originally half dead, but now there was some vitality. The leaves were all stretched out and there was some luster on the leaves. Wang Daoyuan had gone through fire and water this time. Although he had escaped unscathed, he was still very tired. He didn't open for business immediately. Instead he rested for a few days. 5 days after returning to the oasis, Gao Yuan came knocking again. Wang Daoyuan closed the shop's defensive array formation and welcomed Gao Yuan into the shop. Gao Yuan was a little surprised to see Wang Daoyuan brimming with energy and vigor. However, he still pretended to be relieved and said, "Fortunately, little friend Zhao is safe and sound. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to explain to your grandfather." Wang Daoyuan also pretended to be confused and asked, "Senior Gao, what happened?" Gao Yuan was a little surprised. Could it be that little friend Zhao doesn't know? After you left the oasis that day, the group of black cloud wolves went crazy. They ran around the mountain forest east of the 100 River Lake as if they were chasing someone. It was so noisy that the surrounding hundreds of miles were not peaceful. Coincidentally, little friend Zhao also entered the mountain a few days ago. I heard that a few days ago, there was a disturbance a few hundred miles east of the 100 River Lake. Second-rank monster beasts were running around and many cultivators who entered the mountain were killed. I was worried that little friend Zhao was in danger, so I came to visit. Hearing this, Wang Daoyuan was a little disdainful. Who was he trying to fool? Didn't he just come to see if this father was dead? He said it as if he cared about this father a lot. Of course he couldn't say this out loud. He still had to work in the oasis in the future. Although Gao Yuan was a lazy dog, behind him was the higher-ups of the oasis. Before beating a dog, one had to look at the master. He politely replied, "I really don't know. I did go to the Poison Dragon Valley that day, but I encountered a second-rank poisonous snake when I entered. I was forced to escape the Poison Dragon Valley and didn't dare to go in again. Later I went around the Poison Dragon Valley and went south to look for valuable spiritual objects. Maybe I ran too far, but I didn't see the black cloud wolves and didn't feel any disturbances. But a few days ago some second-rank monster beasts suddenly ran around. I had to find a place to hide for 2 days. After the storm passed, I dared to come back." Gao Yuan's face revealed a pondering expression. After a long while he responded, "Since little friend Zhao is safe and sound, I am relieved. If there is nothing else, I will take my leave first." Wang Daoyuan sent him to the door and politely said, "Senior Gao, if you find something good, don't forget this junior." Gao Yuan responded and hurriedly left. During this trip, Wang Daoyuan obtained the Dragon Crouching Vine and most of the Foundation Establishment Pill's supplementary ingredients. The remaining supplementary ingredient, Dragon Tendon Grass, was not particularly rare. He should be able to buy it. Although the True Essence Fruit and Blood Jade Ginseng were hard to find, they were not irreplaceable. There was still some hope of finding the Blood Jade Ginseng, but he did not dare to hope for the True Essence Fruit. However, the Blood Jade Ginseng and True Essence Fruit were not irreplaceable. The True Essence Fruit could be replaced by a monster beast's inner core. The Blood Jade Ginseng could be replaced by a second-rank high-grade monster beast's blood essence. Although the monster beast's inner core was not easy to find, there was still hope in Lin Hai's state. As long as he was willing to spend spirit stones, he might be able to buy enough monster beast's blood essence and monster beast's blood essence. If he gathered the materials, there was still hope to refine the Foundation Establishment Pill. But if he used the monster beast's inner core to refine the Foundation Establishment Pill, the cost would be more than double. However, with the Spirit Pearl's space, it was not unbearable. To refine the Foundation Establishment Pill, to guarantee a 30% success rate, one needed at least a second-rank pill master. The limit that a Qi refinement cultivator could reach was a second-rank pill master. Using the monster beast's inner core to refine the Foundation Establishment Pill increased the difficulty by a lot, and the requirements for the pill master's level were also higher. He also had to start cultivating the Tao of pill refinement. After all, refining the Foundation Establishment Pill could not be done by others. His family did not have a second-rank pill master, and seventh uncle Wang Shouhong's talent in the Tao of pill refinement could not be considered brilliant. Without breaking through the Foundation Establishment realm, it was unlikely that he could become a second-rank pill master. If he looked for an outsider to refine the Foundation Establishment Pill, the possibility of being cheated was too high. With the experience of Liang Zixing's pill refinement, Wang Daoyuan did not have to learn from scratch, which could save a lot of time. He used the soul-splitting blade to create a new subsoul to replace Liang Zixing's subsoul. After the nurtured subsoul merged with the main soul, his spiritual sense cultivation increased by 5%. Under the Violet Palace realm, it was extremely difficult to increase one's spiritual sense. Apart from encountering heaven and earth treasures, one could only rely on slowly increasing one's spiritual sense. If there was no effect of a breakthrough in cultivation, it would take several years to increase one's spiritual sense by 10%. And he cultivated the doppelganger soul nurturing technique, so he only needed to merge with a subsoul to increase his spiritual sense by 5%. If he had more clones, it would not take more than a few years for his spiritual sense power to double. After merging with the subsoul, he spent a few days sorting out the subsoul's memories, mainly digesting and absorbing the experience in pill refinement. 10 days later, he officially started pill refinement, starting with the simplest fasting pill. Chapter 120. The fasting pill was the simplest and cheapest pill among all the pills. The raw materials were only spirit grains, and one only needed to extract the essence of the spirit grains and condense it into a pill. Although the fasting pill was simple, the refining process also included most of the techniques of alchemy. This included controlling the fire, extracting the essence of spirit herbs, condensing the pill, etc. The only thing missing was how to fuse the essences of different herbs together. This was also the most difficult part of alchemy. It consumed a lot of spiritual sense, and if it was not handled well, the furnace would explode. Because there was no such difficult part, the raw materials were also cheap. Therefore, most beginner alchemists would start by refining the fasting pill. After familiarizing themselves with the steps of controlling the fire, they would try to refine other pills. With the alchemy experience provided by his clone, Wang Daoyuan saved a lot of time. At least he did not need to learn the basics. The medicinal properties of spirit herbs, the control of the fire during alchemy, and other key points, he knew them by heart. What he lacked was the actual operation. Once he was familiar with it, his alchemy level would advance by leaps and bounds. There was still a gap between knowing the theory and actual operation. After all, the strength of the clone and the main body was quite different, and the clone's experience could not be completely copied. He did not understand this at first, and the first time he tried, he completely copied the clone's experience. When extracting the essence of the spirit grains, he used 30% of his spiritual sense to stimulate the flames, and the spirit grains were directly burned to ashes. At this time, he understood that he could not completely copy the clone's experience. Adjusting the output of his spiritual sense, he slowly tried, and on the 4th try he successfully refined 2 fasting pills. The success rate was only 20%, but it was considered a beginner. With the clone's experience and his own experience, his alchemy level advanced by leaps and bounds. In just 3 days he increased the success rate of the fasting pill to 60%. The fasting pill could only be regarded as a non-mainstream pill, and those who could refine the fasting pill could not be called alchemists. After that, he began to try to refine the spirit returning pill. The spirit returning pill was the simplest of the tier 1 pills. The pill formula only had 3 spirit herbs, and the difficulty of fusing the essences of different spirit herbs was the lowest. He already knew all the techniques to refine the spirit returning pill, and besides fusing the essences of spirit herbs, he also knew the alchemy process by heart. There was no need to prepare at all, and he could start directly. The difficulty of fusing spirit herb essences was indeed very high. Even if Wang Daoyuan's spiritual sense was powerful, he still blew up the furnace twice. However, the pill furnace he used was the Fire Phoenix Purple Sun Furnace, a low-grade 2nd-grade pill furnace, and the materials he used were mid-grade 2nd-grade Purple Sun Copper. When refining a Tier 1 pill, even if it exploded, it would not damage the Tier 2 pill furnace. However, he improved very quickly and only failed 5 times. On his 6th attempt, he successfully refined 3 spirit recovery pills. 5 days later, the success rate of refining the spirit recovery pill had reached 50%. At this point, he could be considered to have officially become a first-tier low-rank alchemist, and his ability to fuse spirit herb essences had reached a certain level. In the next month or so, he had refined many kinds of level 1 pills, and his success rate had exceeded 40%. Elixirs were classified according to the difficulty of refining and the grade of the elixirs used. The Spirit Gathering pill was one of the simplest Tier 1 high-rank pills. As long as one's success rate in refining the Spirit Gathering pill was higher than 40%, one would be considered a Tier 1 high-rank alchemist. However, he did not continue to refine the essence-gathering pill. There were only about 2 months until the auction of the Foundation Establishment pill. It was time to return to the clear glass market to plunder spirit herbs at a low price. In this half a year in the oasis, he had earned more than 20,000 spirit stones. This did not include the large amount of spirit herbs he had collected, as well as the remaining spirit herbs and spirit talismans. If the spirit herbs he had plundered were converted to market value, he estimated that his net profit would be more than 40,000 spirit stones. With the spirit pearl space providing materials, refining spirit herbs was simply a business without cost. After Wang Daoyuan packed up, he left the oasis. After leaving the 100 Rivers Lake by boat, he used the cloud mist escape on the water and soon arrived near the Mirror Iron Mountain. He did not go to the Mirror Iron Mountain, but went directly to the Spirit Spring Cave. Standing in front of the cave, he used his divine sense to explore, but he did not find anything. The cave should have activated a concealment array. Perhaps the defensive array was also activated, so he did not dare to rashly use an escape technique to enter. After all, the Spirit Spring Cave had a Tier 2 high-rank array and he could not withstand it. He had refined Qiyun into a clone and learned from Qiyun's memories how to control the array without using the Spirit Spring bead. Although he did not cultivate the Tao of array and could not control the entire cave's array, he still had the ability to open the door. He used his divine sense and spirit qi to explore the door, gathered them in several array patterns and then activated them at the same time. The door instantly opened. The location of the power gathering could not be the slightest bit off, and the divine sense and spirit qi at each location could not be wrong. They had to be activated at the same time. Without knowing how to open the door and without the spirit spring bead, it was impossible to open the door by accident. When the door of the Spirit Spring Cave opened, a 15-meter-long water dragon flew over. Wang Daoyuan immediately used the cloud mist escape to dodge and shouted, "12th uncle, don't attack. It's me, it's me." This water dragon technique was used by the 12th uncle Wang Shi. "So it was you. You opened the Spirit Spring Cave?" Wang Shi asked doubtfully. "The Spirit Spring bead is in my hands. How did you open the door?" Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "Besides using the Spirit Spring bead, there is another way to open it, but it requires some understanding of arrays." Wang Shi immediately lost interest and said, "You still want to study arrays? Forget it, I'll study how to make wine." Wang Daoyuan walked into the cave and saw that the cave had changed quite a bit. The spirit mulberry and the purple gold grass had grown quite well, but the spirit forbidding silkworm had not broken out of its cocoon. The cave had opened up 5 acres of spirit fields and planted all kinds of spirit herbs that the clan owned. However, each spirit herb only took up a few square feet of the spirit fields. This was completely to leave a backup plan. There were also a few jasper watermelons planted in the spirit fields. These spirit fields were also watered by the jade butterfly spring, so there was no need to worry about the consumption of the soil. There was also a stone room built next to the thatched cottage. He walked over and smelled the smell of wine. It was very similar to the scarlet blood wine, but there were some differences. Wang Daoyuan asked, "12th uncle, what's going on with this wine?" The scarlet blood wine's smell is mixed with the fragrance of the jade butterfly orchid. In addition, there is also the smell of blood worry. Blood worry was a commonly used healing pill. Its main function was to stop bleeding, but it also had some effect of healing injuries. Wang Shi smiled and said, "You are indeed my nephew. You can even smell this." The scarlet blood wine's main function is to restore spirit qi. Although it has some effect on healing injuries, it is not as good as the rejuvenation pill. I added the blood worry to it to increase the healing effect. There is also the jade butterfly orchid. Your 7th uncle has researched the medicinal properties of this thing. If you take it directly or refine it into a pill, it can also increase your divine sense cultivation and restore the power of your divine sense. He is still researching the jade butterfly orchid's pill recipe. I also added a little bit when improving the wine recipe. I want the new scarlet blood wine to have the effect of healing and divine sense. Right now I am just experimenting. When I succeed, I will give you the new wine recipe. Chapter 121. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "Then I'll wait for your good news." Then he took out 2 jugs of newly brewed red blood wine and 2 beggar's chickens wrapped in lotus leaves. The lotus leaves came from those plants that never bloomed. Wang Daoyuan no longer spoiled them and often plucked a few lotus leaves to make beggar's chicken. Seeing that there was wine and meat, Wang Shi immediately became interested. He grabbed a chicken, tore off a drumstick, took a bite and said, "It's really a rare delicacy in the world." Then he grabbed a jug of wine and drank a big mouthful. He said intoxicatedly, "If I had such good wine and delicacies every day, I wouldn't exchange it for a golden core. You really know how to enjoy yourself. Not only can you drink, but you're also good at cooking delicacies." Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "This chicken is called Jade Bone Phoenix Tail Pheasant, a first-rank middle-grade spiritual bird. I still have a few living ones so the family can raise them. In the future, 12th uncle, it's not impossible for you to eat chicken and drink wine every day." Wang Shi was overjoyed. "Really? Why don't we raise a few in the spirit spring cave?" Wang Daoyuan glanced at him and said, "You don't want the forbidden spirit silkworm? Do you want to smell chicken poop and brew wine all day? Then forget it. The forbidden spirit silkworm and the spiritual wine are more important," Wang Shi said regretfully. Wang Daoyuan came to the spirit spring cave to see the situation and didn't have any business. After eating and drinking with the 12th uncle and Wang Shi, he left. After leaving the spirit spring cave, he used the cloud escape to enter Xianxia village and went ashore. There were still 2 months before the auction of the foundation establishment pill, so there was plenty of time. Since he was passing by and had nothing to do, he naturally had to go home to see his parents. He also wanted to collect a few common seasonings such as pepper, onion, ginger and garlic, and plant them in the space of the spiritual pearl to cultivate non-ranked spiritual plants. With enough seasonings he could recreate the delicacies of his previous life. As soon as he went ashore, he heard wolf howls coming from Xianxia village. Wang Daoyuan immediately used the sky-peering technique and looked into the village. He saw Dahe and a dozen black cloud wolves besieging a cultivator. This cultivator looked to be in his 60s or 70s. He was at the 7th level of qi refinement and wore the green Taoist robe of the Liang family. Dahe had improved a lot in the past year, but it was only equivalent to a cultivator at the 2nd level of qi disciple. 10 black cloud wolves were only equivalent to a cultivator at the 1st level of qi disciple. If it weren't for the fact that they had the advantage in numbers, they would have been defeated long ago. Dahe and the black cloud wolf both had many wounds on their bodies. This Liang clan cultivator is also a piece of trash. If it were me, I would be able to kill a few tier 1 low-grade spirit beasts in one move. Wang Daoyuan took out an image recording pearl, activated it with his divine sense and threw it on a tree. The image recording orb was a special type of Dharma artifact. Normally its grade was not high. Once it was activated, it could record the current scene. Then he used invisibility and breath concealment and slowly approached. When he was more than 10 feet away from the Liang clan cultivator, he directly used cloud mist escape and appeared in front of the Liang clan cultivator. He kicked him to the ground. Then he took out the black yang sword and pressed it against the Liang clan cultivator's neck, asking, "May I ask why Dao Yu of the Liang clan trespassed into my Wang clan's territory? And even injured the spirit beasts of my Wang clan?" In the cultivation world, hitting someone else's spirit beast was equivalent to hitting someone else's clan. Of course, if the spirit beast did evil, the clan also had to bear the responsibility. But hitting someone else's spirit beast in their territory could be seen as declaring war on the clan. Of course, the Liang clan cultivator would not admit it. Even if the Liang clan was powerful, they still had to abide by the rules of the Netherworld sect. Attacking other clans for no reason did not cause serious consequences. With Liang Liang's protection, the Liang clan would not suffer too much. However, he would definitely be severely punished. It was also possible that he would be killed directly. He quibbled, "This is clearly a demonic beast that was harassing the village. I helped drive it away." Wang Daoyuan called Dahe. Dahe immediately shook its head and wagged its tail as it walked over, rubbing its head against his leg. He sneered, "Do you still have anything to say now? Not to mention that this is not a demonic beast. Even if it is, does my Wang clan need your Liang clan to worry about my matters? According to the rules of the Netherworld sect, the subordinate clans of the Netherworld sect have the right to not allow cultivators from other clans to enter their territory. My Wang clan has also announced that Liang clan cultivators are not allowed to enter my Wang clan's territory. I remember that this rule was proposed by your Liang clan's ancestor, right? What, is the Liang clan knowingly breaking the rules, or does the Liang clan not need to abide by the rules of the Netherworld sect? Back then, in order to suppress the Wang, Yang and Meng clans, the Liang clan proposed this rule and obtained the approval of the higher-ups of the Netherworld sect. The Liang clan also followed this rule and did not allow the Yang clan to use Qingxi's wharf. In these 300 years the Yang clan was disgusted. The Liang clan cultivator knew that he was in the wrong and could not win, so he admitted defeat. I was blind and mistook the Wang clan's spirit beast for a demonic beast. I am willing to compensate for the Wang clan's losses. Please be magnanimous, Dao. Wang Daoyuan thought to himself, Qingxi village is too close to Mirror Iron Mountain. If this matter is blown up, it will easily attract the Liang clan's attention to Mirror Iron Mountain. The matter of the clan's transaction with Green Willow Province will be easily exposed. If I directly capture this person and refine him into a doppelganger, it will be difficult to guarantee that this matter will not be exposed in broad daylight. If the Liang clan comes to ask for him, then there will be great trouble. It is better to reduce the impact. Thus he replied, Fellow Taoist, it's pardonable that you were mistaken. However, since you attacked my Wang clan's spirit beast will not be beaten for nothing. Dao, you leave behind your storage pouch and magic tools and I can pretend that this did not happen. The Liang clan cultivator felt a wave of heartache. Although the items on him were not all of his wealth, giving them all away would still be a great loss. However, it was useless to feel heartache. He was attacking the Wang clan's spirit beasts in their territory. If the Wang clan did not let him go, he would definitely die. The Liang clan would definitely not pay such a huge price to protect a 7th-stage qi refinement cultivator with no future. He gritted his teeth and threw out his storage pouch and magic longsword. Then he stood up and left dejectedly. Wang Daoyuan opened the storage pouch and took a look. He directly stored it in the space of his spiritual pearl along with the longsword. He really did not care for this trash. The longsword was only a mid-grade level 1 magic tool. There were only a few hundred spirit stones, a few talismans and some pills in the storage pouch. At this moment, Dahe was still rubbing its head against his leg. He pointed at the dozen or so black cloud wolves and asked, Dahe, are these your subordinates? Dahe nodded proudly. Wang Daoyuan cursed inwardly, beasts. The dozen or so black cloud wolves were all female wolves. They had only become demon beasts for less than a year and they already had a harem. On second thought, this wasn't a big deal. Dahe had worked hard to look after the village for more than 20 years. Why couldn't it enjoy itself? This was also good. When Dahe strengthened the wolf pack, it could better stop the Liang clan from causing trouble and protect the safety of Qingxi village. As long as Dahe's strength could suppress the wolf pack, its position as the wolf king would be very stable. It would also not be afraid of the wolf pack's retaliation. He had the space of his spiritual pearl. If he cultivated Dahe with all his strength, would there be any other wolf whose cultivation level surpassed his? Dahe ran into its kennel and took out an empty storage pouch. It looked at Wang Daoyuan pitifully. Wang Daoyuan did not know whether to laugh or cry. It knew how to pretend to be pitiful and ask for benefits. Chapter 122. Wang Daoyuan took out 200 spirit-feeding pills and put them into Dahe's empty storage bag. This was what he refined when he was practicing alchemy in the Green Willow continent. Spirit-feeding pills were specially used to raise spirit beasts and were more suitable for Dahe than spirit-gathering pills. The spirit beasts in the space of the spiritual pearl had green watermelons and spirit grains to eat, so they didn't need spirit-feeding pills. After Dahe got the benefits, it turned back to its kennel and dug a hole to bury the storage bag. Then it took its harem out of the village. Wang Daoyuan put away the image recording pearl and walked home. An immortal from another family came to the village and even fought with the wolves. The villagers were so scared that they hid at home and didn't dare to come out. After he drove away the cultivators of the Liang family, the villagers dared to walk out of their houses. Wang Fu also opened the door and welcomed his son in. As soon as he entered the inner courtyard, Mrs. Wang Yang asked worriedly, "Erwa, were you hurt when you fought with the foreign immortal?" Wang Daoyuan comforted her. "Mother, I'm fine. That's someone from the Liang family who doesn't get along with our Wang family. He beat Dahe in our Wang family's territory, which is against the rules. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, so I asked him to leave all the good things on him and let him go. Although he's old, he's very weak. He was subdued by me in one move and didn't have a chance to fight back. I'm fine. Mrs. Wang Yang asked again. How is Sanhua doing in the clan? Can he eat his fill? Wang Daoyuan said with a smile. Mother, don't worry. He's now learning from the Grand Duke in the clan. I left him a few 100 kilograms of spirit grains, and the clan also has spirit grains. It's enough for him to eat. Mrs. Wang Yang was relieved and took her daughter-in-law and grandson into the kitchen. Wang Fu took his two sons into the main room. After entering the main room, Wang Daoyuan asked, Father, what's going on with Dahe? When did it become the Wolf King? Wang Fu praised, speaking of which, Dahe is the savior of our village. Half a year ago, a pack of wolves ran to our village. When I saw the wolves coming, I quickly used the thing that the Immortal in the clan gave me to call for help. Your elder brother led the young men in the village to stop the wolves. But I didn't expect this pack of wolves to be so powerful. They injured quite a few people as soon as they met. Your elder brother was almost injured, and 2 villagers were bitten to death by the wolves. I reckon that before the Immortals arrive, everyone in our village will be eaten by the wolves. Fortunately, Dahe was there. It rushed directly to the Wolf King. The other wolves were frightened and did not dare to get involved. In the end, Dahe bit the Wolf King to death. The other wolves were afraid of Dahe and didn't dare to fight with it. Some of them ran away, and the remaining 10 or so wolves recognized Dahe as their king. The wolves have been staying nearby. With Dahe taking care of them, they don't bite people in our village. Since Dahe became the Wolf King, no wild beasts dared to come near them. The Immortals in the clan saw that the wolves didn't hurt people, so they let them stay nearby. Wang Daoyuan ate a meal at home, leaving behind a few 100 kilograms of spirit grains and 2 stalks of wild ginseng. Then he left the house and went to his own vegetable field to look for seasonings. Onion, ginger, garlic, pepper and other common seasonings were gathered without leaving the village. In addition to the chili he found earlier, the seasonings in his hands were enough to make most of the delicacies. Since he had already visited his parents, the next step was to return to Qingli City and search for spiritual items at a low price. Before leaving, he set up a stone tablet at the entrance of the village. It said, "This is the Black Cloud Wolf Pack, the spirit beasts raised by my Wang family. Anyone who attacks without permission will be investigated to the end." This stone tablet was the same as the warning signs in his previous life. It didn't have much practical use. But once something happened, it would be very useful when someone was held responsible. In order to prevent someone from destroying the stone tablet after attacking the wolf pack, he also used an image recording pearl to record the process of setting up the stone tablet. Wang Daoyuan was in a hurry to search for spiritual items, so he didn't wait for the family's spirit ship. He directly jumped into the clear stream, used the cloud escape and rushed to Qingli City. There were no second-rank demonic beasts downstream of the clear stream. He used the cloud escape and the first-rank aquatic demonic beasts couldn't catch up with him at all. There were no surprises or dangers along the way and he smoothly arrived at Qingli City. He didn't return to his store but went shopping directly. The last time he came back to buy a talisman pen, Qingli City was not much different from when he left. After a few months, the streets were clearly more lively. The carpets and stalls were about to block the doors of the stores. Although there were many stalls, no one was selling second-rank spiritual items. These factions were really able to keep their composure. Wang Daoyuan stayed in Qingli City for more than half a year. There were many good things in the Spirit Pearls space. He really didn't care for ordinary first-rank spiritual items. Some old and cunning rogue cultivators knew that many people had the intention of scamming, so they took out some rare trash items and sold them as treasures. They really deceived many people. These methods were child's play to him. After fighting a battle of wits and courage with the brokers in Qingli City for more than half a year, those brokers were the best of the best. Compared to these rogue cultivators who wanted to deceive people, they were much better. After seeing so many brilliant scams, these little tricks were difficult to look at. After shopping for half a day, he still didn't see anything that caught his eye. Just as he was preparing to return to his store, a stall owner called out to him, "This Wang family's Dao, I have many good things here. Why don't you come and take a look?" This stall owner looked to be in his 50s. He had a smile on his face and looked rather honest. Wang Daoyuan didn't have any urgent matters either, so he might as well see what good things he had. On this stall owner's stall, the things displayed were very miscellaneous. first-rank spirit herbs and seeds, demonic beast scales, bones, teeth, etc., and some ores. However, there wasn't a single thing that was worth more than 10 spirit stones. Wang Daoyuan pointed at the stall and said contemptuously, "Just these." The stall owner smiled and said, "Of course not. Who would put good things out in the open?" Finished talking, he took out more than 10 high-grade first-rank spirit talismans from his storage bag. As a second-rank spirit talisman master, Wang Daoyuan could tell at a glance that these spirit talismans were not of a low standard. The person who refined them could be considered one of the best among the first-rank spirit talisman masters. The stall owner said, "These are spirit talismans that I refined. They're definitely cheaper than those sold in the store. I wonder if Daoyu is interested in them?" Wang Daoyuan didn't reply and extended his right hand with the back of his hand facing the stall owner. The stall owner smiled embarrassedly. "I didn't expect Daoyu to be of the same trade. I was rude." Spirit talisman masters use talisman brushes all year round. When they held the brush, the first knuckle of their ring finger would hold the shaft of the brush. After a long time, a piece of flesh would protrude from the knuckle and there would be a layer of calluses on the surface. As spirit talisman masters, they could tell at a glance if they were of the same trade. The stall owner put away the spirit talisman and took out an egg from his storage bag, smiling. "Daoyu, this is the egg of a second-rank eagle-type demon bird." Wang Daoyuan used the heaven-peering technique and used his spirit consciousness to peer into the egg. Ordinary demon beast eggshells had the effect of blocking spirit consciousness. Using spirit consciousness to peer into the egg directly, one could only tell if the egg was alive or dead. However, the heaven-peering technique had a very good penetrating effect on things that blocked spirit consciousness and could barely see the situation inside the egg. He saw that the chick inside the egg had already taken shape and would break out of the shell before long. The chick's beak was very long and there was a hook at the end. It was clearly an eagle-type demon bird. Coincidentally, after he obtained the golden rock wrestling dragon technique, he wanted to catch an eagle and use the phantom of the golden rock to simulate the eagle's melee moves. That was when he came across an eagle egg. Furthermore, the spirit energy fluctuations emitted by this eagle egg were quite strong, comparable to that of a level 3 Qi refinement human cultivator. If it had such cultivation before hatching, it would be at least a second-rank demon bird when it matured. Chapter 123. This eagle egg was genuine and the stall owner knew its value, so it was impossible to pick it up. Wang Daoyuan didn't beat around the bush and said directly, "Give me a reasonable price?" The stall owner didn't speak and stretched out 3 fingers, indicating that he wanted 3,000 spirit stones. The price of a rank 2 monster's egg or cub fluctuated greatly, ranging from 1,000 to 5,000 spirit stones, and some of the more valuable species were priced at more than 10,000 spirit stones. 3,000 spirit stones wasn't expensive, but it wasn't cheap either. The key was that the eggs of the same species of monster birds all looked similar. Even after hatching, it was difficult to recognize. Only after half or even adulthood could it be easy to judge the species. Wang Daoyuan asked, "May I ask what species this thing is?" The stall owner smiled awkwardly. "To tell you the truth, Dao, I got this thing by accident. I haven't seen its parents, so I can't be sure what species it is." Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "Then fellow Daoists asking price is not very generous. Both of them are second-grade eagle demon birds. No one wants the black-feathered eagle's egg for 1,000 spirit stones, but there are people who want the gale eagle's egg for 6,000 to 7,000 spirit stones. You are not sure of the species of this eagle egg. If it is the black-feathered eagle's egg, then I will lose a lot." The stall owner laughed. "If it is the gale eagle's egg, won't Daoyu make a lot of money?" Wang Daoyuan was a little surprised. This stall owner looked honest, but business was not honest. He waved his hand and said, "Dao, you also know which is more common between the gale eagle and the black-feathered eagle. The probability of this egg being the black-feathered eagle is much higher. I will pay 2,000 spirit stones. If you agree, then the deal is done. If not, I will leave." The stall owner thought for a while and nodded in agreement. Wang Daoyuan gave the stall owner 2,000 spirit stones, took the eagle egg, put it in the space of the spirit bead and left the stall. He turned around with a smile on his face. Although he wasn't sure what species the eagle egg was, it was definitely not the black-feathered eagle. When he used the divine sense eye to spy on the situation inside the egg, he felt a trace of metal attribute spirit power fluctuation. This eagle egg should be a metal-type demon bird. When it grows up, its attack power should not be too weak. Although it might not be a precious breed, it wouldn't be too bad either. If he bought it for 2,000 spirit stones, at least he wouldn't suffer a loss. In fact, he might even earn a small profit. Other than this eagle egg, he didn't encounter any other phase that caught his eye. There was no point in continuing to shop, so he simply returned to the shop. Returning to the Jade Spring Pill Talisman Pavilion, fourth brother Wang Daocheng came up to him and said, "The matter of you coming back, 12th uncle has already sent a letter. 9th great uncle said that you should go to the sundry goods store to see him as soon as you return." After hearing this, he was a little nervous. He did not inform his family and ran to Oasis to spy. When he went to see 9th great uncle, he would definitely be reprimanded. The last time he came back to buy a Tier 2 talisman brush, he didn't even dare to return to the shop. This time he was betrayed by the 12th uncle again. He couldn't hide anymore, so he had to go to the 9th uncle's cave next door. Just as he was about to knock on the door opened and a vigorous voice sounded, "You still know how to come back?" It was such an important matter, yet he ran off without discussing it with his elders. "That place is a tiger's den. Aren't you afraid of dying there?" After waiting for 9th great uncle to finish his outburst, he cautiously walked in. 9th great uncle's cave was very simple. There was a stone couch, a table and a chair. On the table was an account book, brush, ink, paper and inkstone. Wang Zhida was sitting on the chair behind the table, glaring at Wang Daoyuan. When he raised his head, he saw the old man's tiger-like eyes staring at him. He quickly smiled and said, "9th great uncle, aren't I fine? You also know that I've been clever since I was young. That group of rogue cultivators was fooled by me." Wang Zhida sighed and said, "Forget it. Since you're back, I won't reprimand you. In view of your great contributions to the family, the patriarch and the elders unanimously decided to recommend you as the Wang family's 10th elder. Our Wang family has never had an elder under the age of 21. That's right, I'll give you 50,000 contribution points for the things you gave to the family. Take some time to go back to Jade Spring Peak. Now that you've become an elder, you have to go back and go through the motions." Wang Daoyuan said with a smile, "It just so happens that I got a lot of good things from Green Willow Province. I'll give them to the family if I don't need them for the time being. In addition, I have good news for you, 9th great uncle. I'm already a low-grade second-tier talisman master. My success rate in refining low-grade second-tier talismans is 35%. Wang Zhida's eyes widened in shock. After a long time he reacted and asked, "Really?" Wang Daoyuan nodded. Wang Zhida immediately stood up from the chair and pulled him behind the table, making him sit on the chair. He then took out 10 low-grade second-tier talisman papers and said, "Here are 10 talisman papers. Now let's start crafting talismans. I want to see how good your level is." Wang Daoyuan took out his talisman brush and began crafting low-grade second-tier talismans. In the past few months he had been refining pills and crafting talismans at a high intensity. In addition, he had fused with a split soul and his spiritual sense cultivation had improved by quite a bit. Without the assistance of medicinal pills and spirit wine, he used less than 10 hours to finish using all 10 low-grade second-tier talisman papers, successfully crafting 4 talismans. His current state was not bad. At this level, even without medicinal pills and spirit wine, he could still refine 14 or 15 times a day without affecting his success rate. 9th great uncle held the 4 low-grade second-tier talismans. After a long time he said with gratification, "The younger generation will surpass us in time. At such a young age, your talisman crafting level has already surpassed mine. I'm very proud to be able to cultivate an outstanding successor for the family. But I was surpassed by you so quickly. It seems that this old man is quite useless. I really don't know if I should be happy or sad." Wang Daoyuan chuckled and said, "Being able to nurture juniors who are stronger than you can show your ability. Without your guidance, how could I be where I am today?" 9th great uncle heaved a long sigh and said, "I was too focused. Only when the family's disciples are stronger than their seniors can the family prosper. I should be happy. You also make a trip back to Jade Spring Peak as soon as possible and let the patriarch and the rest be happy too." After Wang Daoyuan bid farewell to 9th great uncle, he immediately returned to Jade Spring Peak. He did not take the spirit ship and still used the cloud mist escape to go upstream along the clear glass river. In less than a day he returned to Jade Spring Peak. He had to report the situation outside to head elder, so he did not return to his abode but went straight to the executive hall. Just as he arrived at the Jade Dragon Spring, he saw 3 small mulberry trees planted beside the spring. Near the Jade Dragon Spring's water outlet, there was also purple gold grass and half an acre of jasper watermelon below. Entering the executive hall, there was only head elder handling the family's affairs alone. He had always been very diligent and had been in charge of the family's affairs for several decades. He was cautious and conscientious and had never made a mistake. His importance in the family was not inferior to Wang Xian. When head elder saw Wang Daoyuan come in, he hurriedly got up and said, "10th elder has returned. Quickly, please take a seat." Wang Daoyuan said with a smile, "6th great uncle, don't be sarcastic. I was just lucky to find these spiritual items." Head elder waved his hand and said, "No need to be too modest. 9th brother sent a letter saying that your talisman crafting level has already surpassed his. You, the 10th elder, are genuine goods at fair prices. You go down and rest first. I'll make arrangements. Tomorrow, pay respects to the ancestors and officially appoint you as the 10th elder." Chapter 124. On the morning of the second day, Wang Daoyuan put on the clan elder's robe. This robe was not much different from the robes of ordinary clansmen, except that there was a golden fish dragon pattern on the chest. The biggest difference was that the elder's robe was a high-grade level 1 magic tool. Surrounded by the crowd, he walked into the clan's ancestral hall and bowed to the ancestors. The clan leader stood beside the altar and read out Wang Daoyuan's appointment letter. The main content was that although Wang Daoyuan was young, he had contributed a lot to the clan and had become a low-grade level 2 talisman master, reaching the standard to become a clan elder. Then there were some words of encouragement. Finally, the Grand Elder gave him the Elder's Token. The Elder's Token was made of white jade, with a fish dragon pattern carved on the front and Wang Daoyuan's name on the back. With this token he could command the ordinary clansmen of the Wang clan. Apart from the clan's secret treasury, with the Elder's Token he could pass through the clan unimpeded, including the 3rd floor of the hidden scripture tower. Only the clan leader and Grand Elder knew where the secret treasury was. The others did not even have the right to know, let alone enter. After the Elder's appointment ceremony, the ordinary clansmen present, regardless of seniority, bowed to him to show their respect for the clan's elder. He returned the bow to the senior clansman to show his respect for the elders. At this point, Wang Daoyuan had officially become the 10th elder of the Wang clan. The ordinary clansmen dispersed, while the clan leader and the various elders came to the meeting hall to conduct a 3-way trial. Without notifying in advance and leaving only a letter, he went to a dangerous place alone. There had to be an explanation. In addition, they would arrange some affairs for him. Other than the 12th uncle Wang Shui, the other elders were in charge of the clan's affairs. The clan leader asked first, "Daoyuan, why did you go to the Green Willow region?" Wang Daoyuan replied, "Clan leader, I heard from Zhao Baogua that he has a shop in Clear Glass City. This old fellow sells goods urgently needed by both sides between Clear Glass City and Green Willow region, making a lot of profit. I pretended to be his grandnephew and took over his business and connections in Green Willow region. The risk of this trip was not very high and he had earned quite a lot of spirit stones. In addition, I also obtained some rare spiritual items that will be of great use to the family." His words successfully diverted everyone's attention to the rare phase. The Grand Elder asked, "What kind of spiritual item is it?" Wang Daoyuan began to take things out. He took out 5 pairs of long-eared rabbits, 5 pairs of jade-boned phoenix-tailed pheasants, 3 purple gold alfalfa, and 7 kinds of foundation establishment pills that could reproduce quickly. There were plenty of these things in the space of the spiritual pearl. It didn't matter if there were more or less of these things. However, it was of great value to the clan. Everyone was a little dumbfounded. These were all good things. Finally, he took out a stalk of green jade bamboo. The green jade bamboo he transplanted didn't stay in the space for long before it grew 3 new shoots. At this time, the new shoots also grew into bamboos. The one he took out was one of the newly grown bamboos. This time, everyone's eyes were wide open. After a long time, they finally reacted and praised Wang Daoyuan. He had successfully turned the tri-hall joint hearing into a commendation ceremony. Seeing this situation, he struck while the iron was hot. Refining talismans is just my hobby. I'm best at finding spiritual items. Letting me manage the clan's affairs is simply a waste of my talent in finding spiritual items. Therefore, I plan to continue to find a way out for the clan in the future. I can also find some spiritual items to strengthen the clan's foundation. Everyone was dazzled by the spiritual items in front of them and agreed to his proposal without hesitation. Before everyone reacted, he continued, "Since the clan leader and the elders have agreed, I have nothing else to do. I'll go visit Taigong first. Goodbye." With that, he ran out of the meeting hall. After a while, the clan leader asked, "What were we going to discuss today?" The Grand Elder replied, "It seems that we were going to teach Daoyuan a lesson, but we were all stunned by the spiritual items he took out. Moreover, we seem to have agreed to let him continue to wander outside." The clan leader sighed and said, "What a clever little brat." After Wang Daoyuan escaped from the meeting hall, he went to the hidden scripture tower. When he arrived at the hidden scripture tower, he saw Wang Daoyin meditating. In the past year, this kid had grown a little taller and his body had grown a whole size. He first bowed to Taigong and then waited for his younger brother to finish cultivating. 15 minutes later, Wang Daoyin woke up from his meditation. Wang Daoyuan scanned with his divine sense and saw that his younger brother's cultivation was at the second level of meridian opening. The speed was too slow. With his physique, he could cultivate for 4 to 6 hours a day. When he first started cultivating, his physique was much worse than his younger brother's and he could only cultivate for 15 minutes a day. Even so, his younger brother's cultivation speed was much faster than his. With his 6-inch Thunder Spirit root, he should be able to break through to the Qi refinement realm in about 2 years. After entering the clan for a year, he should have at least 40% of meridian opening. Wang Daoyuan asked, "Little brother, did you not cultivate seriously? Why are you only at the second level of meridian opening?" Taigong replied, "You can't blame Daoyin. This child's physique is special. His body absorbs spiritual energy, causing his cultivation to rise slowly. I can't see what kind of physique he has." Wang Daoyuan took out a few jade watermelons and gave them to Wang Daoyin, saying, "Eat as much as you want. Once you're full, use the meridian opening technique and let me see what's going on with your body." Seeing so much food, Wang Daoyin's eyes turned red. He opened the watermelon and started eating. 15 minutes later, he finished 3 jade watermelons that were more than 10 pounds each. He was finally full and started to use the meridian opening technique. The jade watermelon's spiritual energy content was much higher than that of spiritual grains. To be able to eat 30 to 40 pounds of watermelon in one go, his appetite was too terrifying. Wang Daoyuan used the heaven-peering technique to spy on his younger brother's spiritual energy circulation. He saw that after refining spiritual energy into spiritual energy, he controlled the spiritual energy to circulate through his meridians. After one cycle, he lost 60% of his spiritual energy. After a few cycles of spiritual energy, his meridians, bones, muscles and organs were all strengthened. This was automatic body refinement. Wang Daoyuan asked Taigong, "Taigong, do you know what kind of special physique can automatically strengthen the physical body?" Taigong thought for a long time and shook his head, saying, "I've never heard of a physique that has such a magical effect. Are you Daoyin?" Then he used his divine sense to probe Wang Daoyin and said in surprise, "It's true. Usually the food he eats doesn't have so much spiritual energy, so I didn't see it. Our Wang family's library is too small and there aren't any books about special physiques." Wang Daoyuan took out 2 storage bags from the space and handed them to Wang Daoyin. One was about 50 pounds of jerky made from long-eared rabbit meat, and the other was about 500 pounds of spiritual grains. He patted his younger brother's head and said, "Cultivate well. No matter how much you eat, I can afford it. Eat these first and I'll get more for you when you're done." Wang Daoyin asked worriedly, "Brother, is there something wrong with my body?" Wang Daoyuan replied with a smile, "You have a special physique. In the future you will be stronger than cultivators of the same level. This is a good thing. However, you must not tell others about your special physique." Wang Daoyin nodded. Chapter 125. After all, the Wang clan was only a small power. Their ancestor was only interested in killing demon beasts, so they didn't have many books. Regarding special constitutions, the Savage Sun Palace was the most knowledgeable in Zhao. The core inheritance of the Savage Sun Palace was body tempering techniques, so they were the most knowledgeable about special constitutions. If it wasn't for the enmity between the Wang clan and the Savage Sun Palace, sending Wang Daoyin to the Savage Sun Palace would be the best choice. The current situation wasn't very likely. He could only capture a cultivator of the Savage Sun Palace when his cultivation was high enough and refine him into a clone to pry into the secrets of the Savage Sun Palace. The matter of Wang Daoyin could only be put aside for now. Wang Daoyuan had another reason for returning to the mountain, and that was to learn the water dragon art and the advanced version of the mist escape. He cupped his hands towards Taigong and asked tentatively, "Taigong, are the water dragon spell and cloud escape art the simplified version? When I was cultivating them I felt that they had great potential but I didn't use it." Wang Jize had lived for a long time and was shrewd enough to see through his thoughts. He stroked his beard and smiled. "No need to test me. These two techniques do have higher level content. After all, the ancestor was a golden core cultivator. How could the techniques he created be of the first or second level? It's said that the water dragon art was improved from the foundation of the ordinary water dragon art. Actually, that's just a rumor. The foundation of our Wang clan's water dragon art is the 10,000 dragons seat fall, which is a supplementary technique of the art of seat fall. The 10,000 dragons seat fall is extremely powerful. In the past, the ancestor was only a golden core cultivator and used it to kill a golden core cultivator of the Savage Sun Palace. But the drawback is also obvious. After using it, it consumes 80 to 90% of one's spiritual energy. In order to make up for this drawback, the ancestor used the 10,000 dragons seat fall as the foundation and combined many other techniques to create this technique. In order to deceive others, it's called the water dragon art. Although the water dragon art isn't as powerful as the 10,000 dragons seat fall, it's more flexible and uses less spiritual energy. The water dragon art you cultivate is simplified. You can only control the water dragon to fight with the enemy. When the ancestor created the water dragon art, he imitated the innate techniques of the dragonfish. Therefore, the complete water dragon art, the water dragon can use other techniques. As for this cloud mist evasion, naturally it's a simplified version. The complete cloud mist evasion requires a Zifu disciple to train in. Even if I gave it to you now, it wouldn't be of any use. He paused for a moment, then continued, "The complete water dragon art can't be learned by anyone who isn't a family elder. You're qualified now. It's just that the complete water dragon spell requires the use of a water dragon to cast a spell, which has an extremely high requirement for one's divine sense. It's very difficult for those below the peak of qi refinement to even get started." Wang Daoyuan did not answer. He released the power of his spiritual sense and hit one of the pine needles. The pine needle was directly cut off by the power of divine sense. Generally, qi refinement cultivators could only use their spiritual sense to move light objects if they did not use spiritual sense secret techniques. It would be difficult for them to even pierce through a piece of ordinary paper. Not to mention cutting the extremely tough pine needles. Wang Jize said in surprise, "I know that your divine sense strength surpasses those in the same rank, but I didn't expect that it's already strong to this extent. Your spiritual sense cultivation is considered top-notch among peak qi refinement cultivators. You're almost catching up to Shi. You should be able to learn the complete water dragon art." The complete water dragon art manual is on the 3rd floor of the Tripitaka block. You can go up with the elder token. Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands and bowed to Taigong before entering the Tripitaka block. He had never been to the 3rd floor of the Tripitaka block before. He went up the stairs to the 2nd floor and at the end of the stairs was a door. He took out the elder token. The token flashed and the door opened automatically. The 3rd floor was extremely spacious. There was only a bookshelf with a few jade slips on it, including the art of overturning sea, the water dragon art, and the cloud mist escape. Each jade slip was placed in a grid, and the grid was protected by a layer of light. The bookshelf seemed to be made of high-grade spirit wood. With his cultivation, he could not damage the bookshelf at all even if he attacked with all his strength. He used the token to open the light barrier of the grid where the water dragon art was. He took out the jade slip and used his divine sense to examine it. Only then did he realize that there was a layer of restriction on the jade slip that blocked divine sense. He used the heaven-peering art but was unable to break through the restriction. He could only take the jade slip downstairs. When he was downstairs, he handed the jade slip to Taigong. Taigong took the jade slip and closed the restriction on it. He handed the jade slip to Wang Daoyuan and said, "Cultivating the water dragon art requires 5,000 contribution points. I guess you also care about this little bit of contribution points. This is the core inheritance of the clan. Remember not to spread it out." He nodded and said, "Great-grandson understands. I will not spread it out." He took the jade slip and used his divine sense to study it. After memorizing the contents, he returned the jade slip to Taigong and bade farewell. Clear Glass City had not reached the stage where they were selling Tier 2 spirit items. There was no point in going there now. Therefore, he returned to his residence and cultivated the complete version of the water dragon art. The complete version of the water dragon art had a much more complicated content to condense the water dragon. The condensed water dragon was also much stronger. Just by looking at the condensed water dragon, there was no difference between the complete version and the simplified version. It seemed like the 12th uncle Wang Shi was using the complete version of the water dragon art. No wonder his water dragon art could easily crush opponents of the same level. His own water dragon could only transform into a water dragon armor and release dragon prowess. The complete version of the water dragon art enhanced the simplified version's dragon prowess and water dragon armor. In addition, there were 3 water attribute spells: Water Dragon Prison, Myriad Dragons Emerging from the Sea, and Water Driving Art. The Water Dragon Prison was a sealed prison formed by using water attribute spirit chi. When the enemy was inside, they would be restricted from using spells. It was mainly used to trap and suppress the enemy. The Myriad Dragons Emerging from the Sea was an improved version of the Myriad Dragons Seatfall art. It reduced the explosive power and increased the duration. The large water dragon condensed by the water dragon art was divided into many smaller water dragons to surround and attack the enemy. Its power was much higher than the large water dragon. The water driving art was to control water. When one was in the river, lake, or sea, one could borrow the power of the water to attack the enemy. When using water attribute spells, the power would be greater. The water driving art was similar to dragon prowess. As long as the water dragon was condensed, it would have this ability. The power of the water driving art depended on the condensed water dragon. The stronger the water dragon, the stronger the water driving art. This was originally the dragonfish's water driving art. When Wang Qingzu used it in the water dragon art, its power was much weaker than when the dragonfish used it. The so-called divine art was a special type of spell. It did not require one to control the flow of spirit chi. With a thought, it could be released in an instant. Its power was also much stronger than ordinary spells. Human cultivators needed to be at least in the Yuanying realm to comprehend a divine art. Very few cultivators could comprehend the embryonic form of a divine art in the Golden Core realm. It was called a lesser divine art. However, not everyone could comprehend a divine art. It depended on fate. When the time came, one could suddenly comprehend it while eating or sleeping. If there was no fate, one could not comprehend it even after 100 years of hard work. Divine beasts had innate divine arts. For example, the dragon race was born with the ability to control water. Some demon beasts with divine beast bloodlines had a high probability of awakening a divine art. Furthermore, it was possible for them to awaken it at a lower realm. The dragonfish had awakened the water driving art in the Purple Mansion realm. The water driving art in the water dragon art was only an imitation of the dragonfish's divine art. It could not be used as one wished, and its power was much weaker. It could only be considered a powerful passive spell and could not be compared to a divine art. Chapter 126. He had already laid a good foundation for the simplified version of the water dragon art. It was not difficult to condense the water dragon, and he succeeded after a few tries. The water dragon armor was also not difficult. There was no need to practice the water manipulation, but the water dragon prison and 10,000 dragons emerge from the sea were very difficult. After more than 10 days of hard practice, the water dragon prison could only create a fist-sized water bubble, which would burst with a poke, let alone trap the enemy. Using 10,000 dragons emerge from the sea could only split one water dragon into 2, and its close combat ability was worse than not using 10,000 dragons emerge from the sea. These 2 spells relied on the strength of the spiritual power and were powerful with high cultivation. He was only a chi refining cultivator, and it was not easy for him to use them. It was purely wishful thinking to use them against the enemy. Wang Daoyuan was not discouraged. After practicing the complete version of the water dragon art, his strength had improved a little. The water dragon's close combat ability and dragon's power had increased a lot. In addition, the water dragon armor's defensive power had increased greatly. After using the water dragon armor, he could use the water manipulation technique and other water attribute spells to increase the power. The most important thing was that in the future, when his cultivation improved, the combat power of the water dragon art would also increase greatly. It took more than 10 days to practice the water dragon art. There were less than 20 days before the auction of the Foundation Establishment Pill. At this time, there should be someone selling second-tier spiritual objects in the clear glass market. Before going to the clear glass market, he first went to fourth uncle Wang Shiyun's cave residence and asked him to help see if the plants that only had leaves and did not bloom were ink jade lotus. If they were, he would raise them well. If not, he would dig them up. After raising them for so long, he could only use them to make beggar's chicken. It was too wasteful. When he came to fourth uncle Wang Shiyun's cave residence, he saluted and said, "Fourth uncle, I have a question about spiritual plants to ask you." Wang Shiyun smiled and said, "You are always jumping up and down. Why are you suddenly interested in spiritual plants?" Wang Daoyuan did not care about fourth uncle's ridicule. He took out a lotus leaf and said, "Fourth uncle, I got a lotus in the Green Willow Island. It looks like a black water lotus, but it won't bloom. Can you tell me what's wrong?" Wang Shun received the lotus leaf and carefully observed it for a while before probing it with his divine sense. Finally, he tore off a small piece of the lotus leaf and put it into his mouth to taste it. After pondering for a long time, Zhou Xian slowly said, "This is definitely not the black water lotus. Even though it looks similar, there are slight differences in its smell and taste. Looks a little like the inky jade serene lotus. I don't know much about medicinal properties, so I can't be sure. Let's go to your seventh uncle's place and let him determine the medicinal properties. He is an alchemist, so he has a better understanding of the medicinal properties of spirit herbs. His judgment should be more accurate than mine." The two of them arrived at Wang Shouhong's cave and took out the lotus leaf. Wang Shouhong directly tore off a small piece of the lotus leaf, put it in his mouth, chewed a few times and swallowed it. Then he closed his eyes and meditated, refining this small piece of lotus leaf. 15 minutes later, he stopped refining and said with certainty, "This is definitely not the black water lotus. There is a very weak power in the lotus leaf that can affect the soul. It is very likely to be the black jade lotus." Wang Daoyuan asked doubtfully, "But why isn't it blooming? That lotus is more than 20 years old, but it still only has lotus leaves." Fourth uncle Wang Shun said with a smile, "If the black jade lotus doesn't bloom, then it is not strange. The black jade lotus likes pure yin qi. In places without pure yin qi it can also grow well, but it just doesn't bloom. That lotus that doesn't bloom, does it grow in places without pure yin qi?" Wang Daoyuan replied, "Indeed, I know that the black jade lotus needs to be planted in places with pure yin qi. But I thought that without pure yin qi it can't grow at all. That lotus is growing well, so I thought it wasn't the black jade lotus. It's my bad." After solving the doubts in his heart and confirming that these 5 lotus flowers were indeed the black jade lotus, he continued to keep them. He learned from Qi Yun's memory that the secret realm where the 10,000 corpse spiritual master passed away had extremely rich yin qi. After Foundation establishment he could explore it and collect some yin qi. At that time the black jade lotus could reproduce normally. With the value of the black jade lotus, occupying some spirit fields was nothing. After bidding farewell to fourth uncle and seventh uncle, he went to the executive hall again and reported to Grand Elder that he was going to Clear Glass City to purchase Tier 2 spirit items at a low price. Grand Elder did not have any objections. After all, Clear Glass City did not allow fighting and there was no danger there. He did not take the spirit ship, but directly used the cloud mist escape to travel underwater. Casting the water dragon armor in the water driving technique automatically activated, and the cloud mist escape's speed increased by nearly 20%. Coupled with the dragon power of the water dragon armor, the demonic beasts in the water automatically avoided. It only took half a day to reach Clear Glass City. After more than 10 days passed, Clear Glass City became even more lively. Some Tier 2 spirit items began to appear on the stalls, such as Tier 2 refining materials, green jade bamboos bamboo pole, purple yang copper ore and so on. These things were not of much use to him, so there was no need to waste spirit stones and subsidize competitors. He mainly paid attention to the stalls selling spirit herbs. After walking for a short distance, he saw a street stall selling spirit herbs. He stopped in front of the stall and used his divine senses to scan the entire stall. When he didn't find any valuable spirit herbs, he was about to continue walking. The stall owner quickly called out to him, "Wang Clan's Dao, I have some good stuff here. I wonder if Dao Yu is interested?" Wang Daoyuan asked, "I don't know what good stuff it is. Dai, take it out and let me see." The stall owner took out a 1-foot-long withered grass from his storage bag. This withered grass did not have branches and only had a single stem. The leaves were fan-shaped, and after drying they were tightly attached to the stem like dragon scales. This was the dragon tendon grass. He was collecting spirit herbs for the Foundation Establishment elixir and was only lacking this dragon tendon grass. It was a pity that this dragon tendon grass had already withered and could not be planted. He used his divine senses to scan the dragon tendon grass and found 3 mile-sized seeds in the gaps of the leaves. All 3 seeds were still alive. The seeds were caught in the gaps of the leaves and could not be seen with the naked eye. Since there were seeds, he naturally had to buy them. He took the dragon tendon grass and asked, "Dao, name a price." The stall owner was also a straightforward person and said, "Fixed price, 500 spirit stones." This price was quite reasonable, so he didn't bargain. He directly took out 500 low-grade spirit stones and handed it to the stall owner. Then he put the dragon tendon grass into the space of the spirit pearl. At this moment a voice sounded, "Wait, I want this dragon tendon grass." Wang Clan's boy handed over. Wang Daoyuan turned around and almost laughed out loud. He thought it was someone important, but it turned out to be the prodigal son of the Liang clan, Liang Zilong. He was followed by a few lackeys. Ever since he came to the Elixir Seal Pavilion to cause trouble 5 years ago, he was so scared that he almost peed his pants. He thought that he had turned over a new leaf and cultivated properly. He didn't expect that he still hadn't made any progress. This lack of improvement was not only referring to the way he interacted with others, but also to his cultivation. 5 years ago he was at the 2nd level of Qi refinement and now he was still at the same level. How could he still be stuck at the 2nd level of Qi refinement? Below the peak of Qi refinement, every 3rd level was a small bottleneck. He had never heard of anyone being stuck at the 2nd level of Qi refinement. In a place like Qingli Market with rich spirit Qi, even with Wang Daoyuan's aptitude, if he didn't eat pills he could break through to the 3rd level of Qi refinement in 2 or 3 years. Chapter 127. This brat was deliberately looking for trouble, so Wang Daoyuan naturally didn't have anything nice to say to him. He sneered, "Isn't this the genius young master of the Liang clan? Aren't you seeking the Dao on Clear Sky Peak? Why are you here with a group of people with low aptitudes like us?" Young Master Liang's reputation as a prodigal son was like thunder in the clear glass market. Wang Daoyuan also shouted these words loudly. There were many loose cultivators and cultivators buying spiritual items in the surroundings, and they all knew of Liang Zilong's conduct. Instantly the entire street was filled with a joyous atmosphere. Liang Zilong still hadn't trained his face to be thick-skinned. He was directly enraged by his words. He pointed at him and scolded, "Wang Daoyuan, you dog that doesn't know what's good for you. My Liang clan hasn't settled the score with you for stealing my Uncle Eleven's things. If you hand over the dragon tendon grass now, I can still help you say a few good words. Who knows, I might even spare your dog life." Wang Daoyuan was angered by this fellow. If the Liang clan wanted to settle the score with him, they should have kept it a secret beforehand. What was this fellow trying to do? Could it be that he thinks I'm timid and wants to scare me to get some benefits? Or is he purely trying to take revenge for being tricked by me 5 years ago and humiliating me in public? He was thinking. Liang Zilong thought he was really scared and became even more excited. He shouted, "Think carefully. Is a dragon tendon grass worth more than your little life?" He couldn't remain silent any longer. Otherwise this grandson might say something unpleasant. He asked, "Where did I steal your Uncle Eleven's things?" Liang Zilong said without hesitation, "In Clear Shi Village. You forced my Uncle 11 to hand over his storage bag and magic items, or else you would kill him." Some of the people around who were watching the show couldn't hold back their laughter. Xianxia village was close to Clear Stream and was beside the Golden Water route. It was also at the edge of the Mortal area, so it was quite famous. Thus, many loose cultivators knew that Xianxia village was the Wang clan's territory. The Wang and Liang clans didn't get along. Running into the enemy clan's territory and letting you go after only asking you to leave your things behind, this was already very benevolent. The affiliated clans of the Netherworld sect could prohibit other cultivators from entering their territory. Everyone knew this rule. The members of the Liang clan had entered the territory of the Wang clan. If they were killed, they could only blame it on their bad luck. Even if they reported it to the Netherworld sect, it would be pointless. He knew that he was in the wrong, yet he still dared to come out and make a ruckus. At this moment, Wang Daoyuan knew that the Uncle 11 that Liang Zilong spoke of should be the Liang clan cultivator that he had dealt with when he returned home. He continued to fish for information and asked, "May I know why your Liang family has come to my Wang family's territory?" Liang Zilong thought that he had given in and became even more excited. He shouted, "My Uncle 11 found a pack of black cloud wolves there and wanted to kill them. You said that it's your family's spirit beast." He wanted to continue shouting, but an old cultivator wearing the Liang clan's green robe came forward and covered Liang Zilong's mouth. This person had his attendants drag Liang Zilong back. He cupped his hands towards Wang Daoyuan and said, "This is Dao Yu from the Wang family. Why do you have to bully the younger generation of my Liang family?" This person was an elder of the Liang clan. His name was Liang Zhechen and his cultivation was at the peak of qi refinement. Although the Liang clan was a Zifu clan, the chores of the clan were still handled by qi refinement elders. Apart from the clan leader, all the foundation establishment cultivators were grand elders and did not care about worldly affairs. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "Don't say that. In terms of age, the young master of the Liang clan is a few years older than me. We were evenly matched. You, on the other hand, were bullying the younger generation. Senior Liang, how do you explain the matter of your Liang clan cultivators coming to my Wang family's territory and attacking my family's spirit beast? I was magnanimous and let that Dao you off. You still want to settle the score? Since you don't want to settle this privately, let's find Elder Zhou to judge." Liang Zhechen thought for a while and said, "Whether that pack of black cloud wolves was a demon beast or a spirit beast of the Wang family is uncertain. You say that it was a spirit beast, but do you have proof? If it was a demon beast attacking Xianxia village and 11th brother helped save the mortals of the Wang family, even if he accidentally crossed the line, it would be pardonable. Fellow Daoist, you want to kill 11th brother indiscriminately. Aren't you being ungrateful?" Wang Daoyuan chuckled and took out an image recording pearl. He said, "Daoyu's ability to distort the truth is not weak. Unfortunately, I recorded the scene with an image recording pearl. As long as I hand this image recording pearl to Elder Zhou, he will be able to judge what is right and what is wrong." This image recording pearl was naturally not the one that recorded the entire process. Wang Daoyuan took out this blank image recording pearl to lure Liang Zhechen to snatch it. As long as he made a move, this matter would blow up and the Netherworld sect would not be able to ignore it. Since the Liang clan did not want to settle this peacefully, he would let the Liang clan suffer a little. Liang Zhechen's eyes spun and he thought for a long time, but he still did not make a move. Wang Daoyuan could only put away the image recording pearl, feeling that it was a pity. Liang Zhechen was a smart person. Since Wang Daoyuan did not directly kill Wang Daoyuan, he naturally did not want to blow up the matter. He only wanted to leave something to be used against him. If not for the idiot Liang Zilong spreading the news, this matter would have passed temporarily. Even if he left something to be used against him and it would be a hidden danger in the future, it would be better when the hidden danger erupted. Now that everyone knew about it, the Liang clan was not in the right. If they fought again, no matter how the Liang clan used their connections, they could not let the Wang family suffer a great loss. At most, they could settle the matter peacefully. However, they had to pay a price for using their connections. They could not just rely on their mouths to get help. If they did not use their connections, they would have to compensate. Wasn't this helping the Wang family by the foundation establishment pill? Rather than making a move now, it was better to suppress the matter as much as possible. At the very least, they had to delay it until after the foundation establishment pill was auctioned. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. He was in a dilemma because of this idiot nephew of his. However, he could not admit defeat. Since that's the case, let's wait and see. After saying that, he flicked his sleeves and left. Wang Daoyuan did not care. He had something to use against him. As long as that guy who was ranked 11th was not dead, he could use it at any time. Even if he died, it would only be a little less destructive, but it would still be somewhat useful. The Wang family had enough spirit stones to bid for the Foundation establishment pill, so they did not need to cause any more trouble. The most important thing was to safely obtain a Foundation establishment pill and let Wang Shui build his foundation. Liang Zilong, this idiot, caused such a ruckus. It was a slap to the Liang clan's face, but it did no harm to the Wang family. The initiative was still in the Wang family's hands. The loose cultivators who were watching the show discussed animatedly. A loose cultivator ridiculed, "This Liang Zilong is really at odds with the Wang family. 5 years ago he came to the Wang family to cause trouble and was played. After that he always wanted to take revenge. The Liang clan's patriarch was afraid that he would cause trouble, so he locked him up in Clear Sky Peak. He just got out, but he already caused so much trouble for his own family. He will probably be locked up for a few more decades." Another round of laughter broke out. A loose cultivator continued, "The Liang clan are all quite cunning. How could they have produced such an idiot?" He simply confessed without being pressed. "The Liang clan's patriarch is really good-tempered. Why would he keep such a plaything around if he wasn't beaten to death?" Wang Daoyuan did not have the time to listen to the loose cultivators ridicule the Liang clan. The situation had changed. Although the initiative was in his hands, he still had to inform the patriarch and the various elders. This was to prevent the Liang clan from causing any more trouble and leaving his own family helpless. He no longer strolled around and directly returned to the Jade Spring Provisions store. Chapter 128. When Wang Daoyuan saw ninth great-uncle, he told him the whole story and gave him the image recording pearl. Wang Zhida asked, "Daoyuan, how do you plan to solve this?" He said without hesitation, "There's no need to solve it. The Liang family is in the wrong, so we'll cover it up as much as possible. If we solve this now, we'll just kill that old guy from the Liang family at most, and the Liang family will compensate us with something. Our Wang family won't get many benefits, and the Liang family won't lose much either. It's better to put this matter aside for now, and when something happens to the Liang family, we'll expose this matter. It'll be a much better blow to the Liang family. Now, our Wang family's top priority is to build our 12th uncle's foundation. Everything else is trivial, so there's no need to add to the mess at this moment." Wang Zhida nodded thoughtfully and said, "That's reasonable. Then let's leave it at that for now. I'll tell the patriarch about this." Wang Daoyuan returned to the backyard of the Pill Seal Pavilion in his own cave. Not long after, someone knocked on the door. He opened the door and saw that it was second uncle Wang Shouju. Wang Shouju was the son of 10th great-uncle Wang Zhihe, and he perfectly inherited his characteristics. He wasn't good at cultivation or the 100 arts of cultivation, but he was steady, reliable, and never made any mistakes. He was born to be a steward. He bowed and said, "Second uncle, why are you here?" Wang Shouju smiled and said, "Father has other things to do, so I'll take over as the shopkeeper of the Pill Seal Pavilion. No matter what, you still have the title of a spirit talisman master in the Pill Seal Pavilion, so I have to come and see you as the new shopkeeper. I'll cut to the chase. I heard from ninth great-uncle that your talisman crafting skills have surpassed his, so I'm here to buy some from you." Since an elder came personally, he had to give him some. He took out 10 golden knife talismans, 5 earth armor talismans, and 5 divine travel talismans and gave them to second uncle, saying, "I used up a lot when I went into the mountains, so I can only take out 20 talismans. You don't have to give me spirit stones, convert them into contribution points and give them to Daoyin." Wang Shouju took the talismans and sighed and said, "I still know the 100 arts of cultivation to earn money. Why didn't I learn them when I was young? Forget it, let's not talk about this. There are a lot of things waiting for me to take care of in the shop. I'll go ahead first." After second uncle left, Wang Daoyuan took out the eagle egg from the spirit pearl's space. This eagle egg should be hatching soon, so he had to hurry up and recognize it as its master. He forced out a drop of blood essence and dripped it on the eggshell. He used the beast taming technique to recognize its master and established a master-servant relationship with the eagle egg. Not long after, the eagle egg began to shake and cracks appeared on the surface of the eggshell. The baby eagle had started to peck at the eggshell, so she couldn't put it into the space of the spirit pearl. Eagles were usually wild and untamed. Even if they recognized a master, it was very likely that they would not submit to him. If he wanted it to be absolutely loyal, he had to let it see its master as soon as it came out of the egg. Wang Daoyuan quietly waited for the baby eagle to come out of its shell. More and more cracks appeared on the eggshell and soon a hole appeared, revealing the baby eagle's beak. It continued to expand the size of the hole. After an hour, the hole was big enough for it to crawl out of the eggshell. The baby eagle that had just come out of its shell only had sparse fluff on its body. It was still impossible to tell its breed. The first person it saw was Wang Daoyuan, and it seemed to be very close to him. Wang Daoyuan took out a small strip of rabbit meat from the space and put it in front of the baby eagle's beak. The baby eagle was not wary of him and quickly ate it. It seemed that he didn't have to worry about the baby eagle not being obedient when it grew up. He put the baby eagle back into the space, changed into the clothes of an ordinary rogue cultivator, put on a veil and bamboo hat, and left the pill seal pavilion. Finally, there was someone selling Tier 2 spiritual items. He wanted to buy a few more, but he didn't expect that idiot Liang Zilong to cause trouble. Everyone on the street was staring at him. How could he buy spiritual items? After walking around for 2 hours, he did see a few Tier 2 spiritual items, but they were all refining materials or dead spiritual herbs. These things were useless to him, so he didn't even have the interest to ask. Just as he was about to return home, he saw a few stalks of dew congealing grass in a stall that no one cared about. Dew congealing grass was a low-grade Tier 2 spiritual herb, and it was one of the main ingredients for refining the essence condensing pill. The essence condensing pill was a common medicinal pill used by foundation establishment cultivators to improve their cultivation. It had the same effect as the spirit gathering pill for qi refining cultivators. Although these stalks of dew congealing grass were not well preserved and looked withered, they were still alive. The stall owner looked to be in his 40s and his cultivation was at the peak of qi refining. He looked fierce and had a few scars on his face. No wonder other stalls were crowded with people, but his stall was deserted. The stall had all kinds of spiritual items. There were also many broken magic tools and some even had blood stains. This person was most likely a treasure-snatching cultivator. The spiritual items were all snatched, so it was not surprising that there were many kinds. Wang Daoyuan was too lazy to care about what he did. He came to buy things, not to make friends. As long as there was something he needed, it was fine. The Netherworld sect didn't care about this person, so he couldn't care. Maybe it was because the things were all snatched, so it didn't matter how much he sold. This stall owner was quite easy to talk to. 5 stalks of dew congealing grass only cost 400 spirit stones. He didn't care about the other things on this stall. After paying the spirit stones, he turned to leave. The stall owner said, "I think Dao Yu is also a straightforward person. I still have some good things here. I got them when I explored the cave of an ancient cultivator. They're definitely good things." Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and said, "I'm not interested in how you got these things. Take them out and let me see. If they're really good, I'll take them even if they're dug out of a cesspool. If they're trash, even if they're related to true immortals, I won't take them." The stall owner looked up to the sky and laughed. "Dao Yu is really straightforward. I like what you say. I won't be long-winded. How about you just take a look?" After saying that, he took out a dozen seeds from his storage bag. These seeds were the size of soybeans and were blood red in color. However, their vitality was extremely weak. If one didn't observe carefully with divine sense, they wouldn't be able to sense the vitality at all. Wang Daoyuan was ecstatic. These seeds were exactly the same as the blood jade ginseng seeds described in the ancient books. Although they were not far from death, the probability of germination was almost zero. However, in the space of the spiritual pearl, it was hard to say. When he explored the secret realm, he obtained the peach tree sapling. The aura released by the flame at the top of the sapling was extremely beneficial to spiritual plants. Previously, the hidden cloud tea was half dead. After the green flame, the situation quickly improved and now it had begun to grow. It could be seen that the aura released by the green flame had the effect of reviving spiritual plants. If these seeds were planted near the peach tree sapling, they might be able to germinate normally. Although his heart was surging, he remained calm on the surface. He asked, "What spiritual plant seeds are these? They don't seem to be of low quality. Unfortunately, they only have a trace of vitality left." It's unlikely that they'll germinate even if I plant them. The stall owner didn't say it directly. Instead he transmitted his voice. These are blood jade ginseng seeds. Dao, you should know the value of blood jade ginseng, right? Wang Daoyuan also transmitted his voice back. Of course I know about blood jade ginseng. If it's a 500-year-old blood jade ginseng, it's impossible to get it without 20,000 spirit stones. However, these are seeds. Even if they're fresh, they can only be refined into foundation establishment pills after 500 years. What use would a rogue cultivator like me have for them? Also, these are seeds that basically don't have any hope of germinating. In my opinion, if you sell them to some confident Ling plant farmer, they'll be worth some spirit stones. The stall owner sighed and said, how would I not know? I won't hide it from Daoyu. I've shown this to many people and none of them were willing to buy it. If Daoyu is willing to buy it, I can sell it to you at a low price. Chapter 129. Seeing that the stall owner was in a hurry to sell, Wang Daoyuan continued to trick him. Daoyu is an honest person. I can give you 1,000 spirit stones for these seeds. I won't hide it from you. I know a spirit plant farmer. Even though he isn't very strong, he is very confident. If I buy them from you and sell them to him, I can make a few hundred spirit stones. Forgive me for speaking bluntly, but I think Daoyu is also doing business without cost. No matter how much he sells, he will make a profit. If you don't sell now, these seeds will be completely dead. At that time they won't be worth anything. Hearing Wang Daoyuan say he wanted to buy, the stall owner's face was full of excitement. He said, then we'll do as Daoyu says, deal. He couldn't help but be excited. Fresh blood jade ginseng seeds were only a few hundred spirit stones each. His seeds didn't have much hope of germinating, but he could still sell them for more than 10% of the price of fresh seeds. Wang Daoyuan took out 1,000 spirit stones and gave them to the stall owner. He put the seeds into the space of the Ling bead and turned to leave. He couldn't suppress the ecstasy in his heart and didn't have the mood to continue shopping. He immediately returned to the abode of the Dan Seal Pavilion. Entering the abode, he opened the soundproof formation he got from killing the assassin 5 years ago and laughed wantonly. There were 13 seeds in total. Even if only one seed could survive, he would have made a big profit. The blood jade ginseng would produce seeds once every 100 years. Each time it could produce 5 or 6 seeds. Even though it needed 500 years to make the foundation building pill, the time flow in the Ling bead was 20 times faster, so it would still take 25 years. But as long as one seed germinated, he could harvest new seeds 5 years later. The second generation blood jade ginseng could be made into pills in 30 years. 30 years later he would only be a little over 50 years old. There would be enough time for foundation building. He didn't dare to have hope for a true essence fruit. Plus, even if he found a true essence fruit, it wouldn't be of much use. Normal true essence fruits didn't have seeds. While true essence fruit trees could live for 10,000 years. Only when they reached the end of their lifespan would they produce true essence fruits with long seeds. Counting from when the true essence fruit tree sprouted, it would start to bear fruit in 1,000 years. Each bearing cycle was 500 years. Even if he obtained a genuine fruit with a long core and planted it in the space of the spirit bead, it would take him 75 years to use it. Moreover, the concentration of spirit qi in the space of the spirit pearl was only at the level of a low-grade level 2 spirit vein. Although it was barely enough to plant a genuine fruit tree, it would take a long time for the fruit to mature. In fact, even if another 100 years passed, the true essence fruit might not be of any use. At that time he would have reached the limit of his lifespan, and even if he had the foundation establishment pill, he wouldn't have much hope. He could only hope that he could go to Linhai Prefecture to buy demonic beast cores in the future. With the blood jade ginseng, there was no need to find the blood essence of demonic beasts to replace it. The cost and refining difficulty would be greatly reduced. 13 seeds were planted around the peach sapling. Whether or not they could survive would depend on their luck. The peach tree sapling had been transplanted into the space for nearly 2 months. According to the time in the space, it was more than 3 years. But after more than 3 years, the peach tree sapling did not grow at all. However, the fluctuations of spiritual energy were much stronger than before, and the flames in the bud were much stronger as well. There was already a small flame outside the bud. The spiritual plants that were further away from the peach tree sapling did not change much. Only the hidden cloud tea grew more than an inch taller. The leaves were green to the point of turning black and they were all upright. It was more energetic than when it was in the hidden cloud continent. In the following 10 days or so, Wang Daoyuan went out to search for spiritual objects every day, but he did not encounter any more precious spiritual objects. The biggest gain was that he was about to gather all the spiritual herbs needed to refine the condensing origin pill. In addition, he also bought a red-scaled pine sapling. The red-scaled pine was a low-grade or mid-grade level 2 fire attribute spirit wood. The pine cone could increase the cultivation of fire attribute cultivators. To Wang Daoyuan, the most important use of the red-scaled pine was that it could be used to burn level 2 spirit charcoal. The spirit charcoal burned by the red-scaled pine was in the upper middle of the same level of spirit charcoal. Its stability was very good. Whether it was refining level 2 pills or level 2 magic tools, it was enough. The day of the auction for the Foundation Establishment pill quickly arrived. The Patriarch and the 12th uncle also came to Clear Glass City a few days ago. Wang Daoyuan followed the Patriarch and the 12th uncle to the auction house to bid for the Foundation Establishment pill. The auction location was in the middle of Clear Glass City's old square. Because the left square and the right square belonged to the Netherworld sect, rogue cultivators rarely went there. A place without customers was not worth much. Therefore, the important business of the Netherworld sect in Clear Glass City was in the old square. The three of them came to the front of the auction house. The Patriarch showed the invitation card, and a young woman led the three of them into the auction house. The auction house's hall was about 30 feet long and 18 feet wide. Rogue cultivators without invitations sat in the hall on the first floor, and those with invitations sat in the private rooms on the second floor. There were dozens of private rooms on the second floor. The private rooms directly facing the auction stage belonged to several Zifu family clans. The Wang family's private room was on the side. It was not good but not too bad. There were 5 Zifu family clans in Clear Glass City. Apart from the Yang family and the Liang family, the other 3 families were in the lower reaches of Clear Glass River, next to Wanchuan River. The main task of these 3 families was to guard against the Thousand Spirit sect, so they did not participate in the Battle of Gold Goose City. This time, only those who killed enemy Foundation Establishment cultivators in the Battle of Gold Goose City or those whose own Foundation Establishment cultivators died were eligible to bid for the Foundation Establishment pill. Therefore, only the Liang family and the Yang family participated in the auction. The other families did not have the financial resources to compete with the Zifu family, so these 2 families reserved 2 Foundation Establishment pills. After the 3 people of the Wang family entered the auction house, rogue cultivators and people from other families also entered one after another. After half an hour, the seats for rogue cultivators below were full. Elder Zhou went to the auction stage and announced the start of the auction, then retreated behind the scenes. Then an old Foundation Establishment cultivator went to the auction stage. 10 young and beautiful female cultivators carried trays and walked to the side of the auction stage. Each of the trays had a jade box on it. After the auctioneer introduced the Foundation Establishment pill, the first jade box was placed on the auction stage. The auctioneer opened the jade box and a blood-red pill the size of a longan was revealed. Wang Daoyuan was quite interested. This was the first time he had seen a Foundation Establishment pill. Then the bidding began. The head of the Liang family, Liang Jiaxing, directly bid 80,000 spirit stones. No one among the rogue cultivators dared to speak. The head of the Yang family, Yang Ziyuan, bid 90,000 spirit stones. Only these 2 families bid for the first Foundation Establishment pill. In the end, it was bought by the Liang family at a high price of 140,000 spirit stones. The Liang family had always wanted to suppress the Yang family, so they did not hesitate to pay a higher price. The second Foundation Establishment pill was competed for by the Yang family and several small families close to the Liang family. The Liang family had already won 1 pill, so there was no discount for the second pill. Therefore, the Liang family did not participate in the bidding. If the Yang family did not want the pill after bidding a high price, it would be a great loss to buy a Foundation Establishment pill with 100,000 spirit stones. The second pill was finally bought by the Yang family at a price of 130,000 spirit stones. There were many families bidding for the third Foundation Establishment pill. A rogue cultivator first bid 60,000 spirit stones, followed by Wang Xian's bid of 70,000 spirit stones. Then several families who had a good relationship with the Liang family began to bid, and each time, they were sure to suppress the Wang family's price. Soon the price reached 120,000 spirit stones. Wang Xian said calmly, 125,000. The head of the Huang family, Huang Wanzhong, bid 130,000. The Huang family had a foundation establishment cultivator in the Netherworld sect who became Liang Liang's disciple. The Huang family could be considered the Liang family's hardcore lackey. When Wang Xian stopped bidding, Huang Wanzhong became anxious and shouted, Wang Xian, why aren't you bidding? Chapter 130. This time the Huang clan had killed a crippled early-stage foundation-building Yang Palace cultivator, so they could only buy the foundation-building pill with a 10% discount. 130,000 spirit stones, even with a 10% discount, was still 117,000 spirit stones, which was enough for the Huang clan to go bankrupt. Wang Xian picked up his teacup, took a sip and answered lightly, I can't afford it. Immediately the audience burst into laughter. Huang Wanzhong was so angry that he cursed loudly. At this time Elder Zhou shouted, Silence! The audience quieted down. The auctioneer bid 3 times and the hammer fell. A young man's voice came from the Huang clan's box. Clan head, what's wrong? Wake up. Elder Zhou just shouted so the people in the field didn't act too presumptuously. They only laughed for about 10 breaths of time before they stopped. The Huang clan didn't dare to not want this foundation-building pill. If they did, they would be waiting for the Netherworld sect to confiscate their property. They could only sell everything they had. Even if they sold the clan's spirit veins, they had to gather enough spirit stones. The bidding for the 4th foundation-building pill began. Wang Xian directly bid 100,000. Another foundation-building clan head, who was dependent on the Liang clan, bid 105,000. Wang Xian calmly said 120,000. The audience fell into a strange silence. 120,000 spirit stones, even with a discount, was the limit that the majority of foundation-building clans could afford. Several clans dependent on the Liang clan also didn't dare to bid again. After all, the Huang clan had just been cheated and no one wanted to be the next. The auctioneer bid 3 times and the foundation-building pill was sold. With a 50% discount, the Huang clan only needed to pay 60,000 spirit stones. The 5th foundation-building pill was bought by an old clan for 130,000 spirit stones. For the 6th foundation-building pill, the Grey Cloud Peaks Meng clan began to bid, but after bidding 90,000 spirit stones, they didn't dare to bid again. The Meng clan could get a 30% discount when bidding for foundation-building pills, so they only dared to bid 90,000 spirit stones. In other words, the Meng clan only had 60,000 spirit stones. The Meng clan's box was next to the Wang clan's. Wang Xian transmitted his voice to the Meng clan's grand elder, Meng Qingshan. Dao Yu Meng, my Wang clan can lend you 20,000 spirit stones. Meng Qingshan excitedly replied, Thank you Dao Yu Wang. I can't repay your kindness. But if you have any orders in the future, the Meng clan will do our best. Wang Xian said a few more polite words and stopped transmitting his voice. In the past year, the Wang clan had done several business deals with the Oasis and earned a lot of spirit stones. Wang Xian had brought over 80,000 spirit stones. The 7th foundation establishment pill was bought by the Meng clan for 120,000 spirit stones. Even with a 30% discount, it was still 84,000 spirit stones. The Meng clan could be considered to have gone bankrupt. They were only short of selling the spirit vein. After winning the foundation establishment pill, the great elder of the Meng family cried tears of joy. He said, The heavens didn't destroy my Meng family. After I die, I will have the face to see my ancestors. Wang Xian handed over 20,000 spirit stones to Wang Daoyuan. Wang Daoyuan took the spirit stones to the Meng family's private room next door and handed the spirit stones to Meng Chongqing. After exchanging a few pleasantries with Meng Chongqing, he returned to his private room. The Liang clan patriarch snorted coldly. The auction continued. The 8th foundation establishment pill was sold for 125,000 spirit stones, and the 9th foundation establishment pill was sold for 130,000 spirit stones. The last foundation establishment pill was bought by a loose cultivator for 135,000 spirit stones. Afterward, 10 female cultivators carried jade boxes. Under the protection of a foundation establishment cultivator, they walked towards the cultivator who won the foundation establishment pill. A female cultivator and a foundation establishment cultivator also came to the Wang family's private room. Wang Xian took the jade boxes and opened them. The foundation establishment pill inside was emitting rich spirit qi. There was no problem with the pill. Wang Xian nodded and took out 60,000 spirit stones. The foundation establishment cultivator took the spirit stones and left the private room with the female cultivator. The 3 people from the Wang family stood up and prepared to leave the auction house. Although there were still some items to be auctioned later, they weren't worth much compared to the foundation establishment pill. Since they got the foundation establishment pill, it was better to let Wang Shi enter the foundation establishment realm first. At this time a dispute broke out in the hall below. The rogue cultivator in the hall who won the last foundation establishment pill didn't have any spirit stones to pay the bill after receiving the foundation establishment pill. Instead he directly wanted to leave. How could the foundation establishment cultivator who was escorting the foundation establishment pill let him do as he wished? The 2 of them started fighting. This loose cultivator was very strong. In just a few moves he knocked down the foundation establishment cultivator of the auction house. Elder Zhou immediately attacked, but there were still many cultivators in the auction house. He didn't dare to use any spells and could only use his flying sword to fight with the loose cultivator. This loose cultivator was very strong. Although he was only at the foundation establishment realm, Elder Zhou, a Zifu realm cultivator, couldn't take him down in a short time. Seeing this, the people in the hall all ran out. The people from the Wang family and the Meng family also ran to the Yang family's private room. They met up with the Yang family cultivators and left the auction house together. The people in the auction house were almost all gone. Elder Zhou could also act freely. He took out a black flag and waved it in his hand. Several black qi flew out from the black flag and rushed towards the loose cultivator. The loose cultivator's spirit qi surged and condensed into a fire phoenix, which rushed towards the black qi. The fire phoenix and the black qi collided. The black qi let out a mournful cry and then disappeared. The fire phoenix also let out a few mournful cries and turned into countless fireballs, flying in all directions. Elder Zhou wanted to continue attacking, but the loose cultivator seemed to have turned into a meteor and flew out of the auction house. With Wang Daoyuan's eyesight he could only see a streak of fire streaking across his eyes. Elder Zhou angrily said, "Phoenix flight, flying star escape, the Xianxia family's secret technique. Shizhenbong, it was you who didn't know the difference between life and death." He wanted to continue chasing, but many places in the auction house were set ablaze by the fire phoenix's fireballs. These flames weren't ordinary flames. The auction house's fire avoidance formation couldn't withstand the might of these flames. He had no choice but to put out the fire first. Otherwise, the entire auction house would be burned down. Half an hour later, all the flames in the auction house were extinguished. The entire auction house suffered heavy losses. Elder Zhou roared, "Shizhenbong, if I don't kill you, I'm not human." Wang Daoyuan felt a bit strange. Green Willow Province shouldn't be unable to afford a foundation establishment pill. Was there a need for the Grand Commander to risk his life to steal a foundation establishment pill? He even offended the Netherworld sect. The Wang, Yang, and Meng families came to a shop of the Yang family and prepared to build their foundation here. Clear glass market didn't allow fighting, so there was still some protection here. Once they took the foundation establishment pill out, there was a 100% chance that someone would intercept and kill them. The shop's defensive formation had already been activated. The Yang family's ancestor Yang Yong was also in the shop. Seeing everyone come in, he smiled, "Little friend of the Wang and Meng families, build your foundation here. This old man will guard you." Wang Xian and Meng Qingshan expressed their gratitude to Yang Yong. In order not to interfere with each other, the 2 quasi-foundation establishment cultivators could only do it one by one. The Wang family lent the Meng family 20,000 spirit stones. The Meng family was embarrassed to compete with the Wang family, so they let Wang Shi build his foundation first. Wang Xian didn't refuse and gave the foundation establishment pill to Wang Shi. Wang Shi had been at the peak of qi refinement for more than 10 years. He had already made the necessary preparations. He directly swallowed the foundation establishment pill and began to break through in a cave in the backyard of the Yang family's shop. Everyone left the cave and guarded nearby. 2 hours later, the surrounding spirit qi began to surge into the cave, triggering a spirit qi wind. The wind grew stronger and stronger. Finally, it formed a spirit qi vortex with a diameter of more than 10 feet above the cave, rolling up the dust in the sky. Half an hour later, the spirit qi vortex gradually shrank and finally disappeared. Everyone's face showed joy. They had succeeded in building their foundation. Chapter 131. After another quarter of an hour, the door opened and Wang Shui walked out. Although he still had a sloppy appearance, his eyes were bright and his whole person's spirit was completely different from before. He bowed to the Yang family ancestor to express his gratitude. Then a middle-aged cultivator from the Meng family who came with Meng Qingshan walked into the cave. This middle-aged cultivator was called Meng Chongfeng, the son of the Meng family's late patriarch. 2 hours later, a spirit qi vortex appeared above the cave again, but it was much smaller than the one caused by Wang Shui's breakthrough. The spirit qi vortex gradually shrank and finally disappeared, which was a sign of a successful foundation establishment. The worry on Meng Qingshan's face finally faded and was replaced by a face full of joy. With a new foundation establishment cultivator, as long as there were no accidents, the Meng family could be stable for nearly 200 years. Although the Yang family also won a foundation establishment pill, the ownership of the foundation establishment pill had not been determined, so no one reached foundation establishment. The Wang and Meng families bid farewell to the Yang family ancestor and then returned home. Wang Xian and Wang Shui decided to return to Jade's Spring Peak to celebrate. Wang Daoyuan did not return but stayed in Clear Glass Market. Next, he planned to return to Green Willow Province. Although there were many dangers and could be schemed against at any time, the probability of obtaining valuable spirit items was higher and it was easier to earn spirit stones. However, after Shizhenbong made such a scene at the auction house, whether the Netherworld sect would do something to Green Willow Province or not was still uncertain. If he went to Green Willow Province now, he might be involved in the battle between the two sides, which was really not a wise move. He planned to stay in Clear Glass Market for a while and wait for the storm of snatching the foundation establishment pill to pass before going to Green Willow Province. For the next period of time, he practiced alchemy in the cave in the backyard of the Pill Seal Pavilion. After practicing for more than a month in Green Willow Province, he could already refine most of the first-tier middle-grade pills, and it was time to try refining the Essence Gathering Pill. Although the Essence Gathering Pill was the simplest of the first-tier high-grade pills, it was still much more difficult to refine than the first-tier middle-grade pills. Refining the Essence Gathering Pill required 10 kinds of spirit herbs, more than all the first-tier middle-grade pills. There were many kinds of spirit herbs, so it was easier to fuse them together. However, with Wang Daoyuan's divine sense cultivation, it wasn't too difficult for him to control the fusion of 10 spiritual herbs. In addition to the experience accumulated by the split soul, after failing 6 times, it was able to successfully concoct 2 spirit gathering pills on its 7th try. Only in the process of increasing the success rate of the spirit gathering pill did he realize the difficulty of refining a first-tier high-grade pill. After spending a month, he barely managed to raise the success rate to 3.5%. At this moment, his level had already surpassed that of his clone Liang Zixing. The experience provided by his clone had already been fully digested. In the future, he could only rely on himself to improve his alchemy skills. 1 month had passed in the outside world, while 1 year and 8 months had passed in the space of the spirit pearl. The flames in the top buds of the peach tree played a huge role. Of the 13 seeds planted, 7 had successfully germinated. Although 6 of the seeds were completely destroyed, the result was still far better than he had expected. 25 years later, there would be 7 blood jade ginseng, which would be enough to refine 7 furnaces of foundation establishment pills. Based on the 30% success rate, that would be 21 foundation establishment pills. Even if he ate them one by one, it would be enough for him to build his foundation. Of course, he would also need 7 demon cores. That was the most important part. In this month, the situation in the Green Willow state could be said to have changed drastically. The boss of the Green Willow State, Shizhenbong, had stolen a Foundation establishment pill under the eyes of the Underworld sect's Purple Mansion elder, set the auction house on fire, and escaped unscathed. As one of the 3 overlords of Zhou, how could the Underworld sect endure this? Although the 3 sects were in a tense situation, there was no war at the moment. It was very easy for the Underworld sect to mobilize a few people. After Elder Zhou reported the situation, the Underworld sect sent 3 Purple Mansion Realm cultivators and 30 Foundation Establishment Realm cultivators to attack the Green Willow State. Because the Green Willow State was within the Sky Beheading Mountain range, there were many demon beasts. Qi Refinement Realm cultivators would basically be killed if they went in. Therefore, they didn't send any Qi Refinement Realm cultivators. Even so, this kind of strength was enough to massacre the Green Willow State. However, the battle didn't progress smoothly. The defensive formation of the Green Willow State was quite good, and there were many Foundation Establishment Realm cultivators guarding it. The Underworld sect besieged the formation for 3 days, but they still couldn't break it. The energy source of the Green Willow State's defensive formation came from the spirit vein. If they didn't have enough strength, they couldn't directly break the formation. The 3 Purple Mansion Realm cultivators weren't strong enough to break the formation, so they asked for help from the sect. The Underworld sect sent a 3rd-tier formation master to help. However, the Purple Mansion Realm cultivators had been attacking the formation for 3 days, creating too much of a commotion and angering the demon beasts in the Sky Beheading Mountain range. Just as they were waiting for the formation master to arrive, they were attacked by several 3rd-tier demon beasts and over 100 2nd-tier demon beasts. The Underworld sect suffered heavy losses. They lost more than half of their Foundation Establishment Realm cultivators, and the rest were all injured. Although the 3 Purple Mansion Realm elders didn't die, they were all heavily injured. This result caused the Underworld sect to lose face. As one of the 3 major powers of Zhou, they couldn't take down a force without Purple Mansion Realm cultivators and suffered heavy losses. It wasn't worth it to continue fighting. The Green Willow State wasn't a real threat to the Underworld sect's rule. It was just a little disgusting. But if they wanted to completely take over the Green Willow State, they had to be prepared to pay a huge price. To the 3 major sects, Golden Core cultivators were a strategic deterrent and couldn't be easily mobilized. Purple Mansion Realm cultivators were a high-end force. When fighting between sects, Purple Mansion Realm cultivators were the main force and Foundation Establishment Realm cultivators were the backbone. Most of the Purple Mansion Realm cultivators of the Underworld sect were stationed at the border with the other 2 sects, while the rest were stationed at important properties. They didn't dare to mobilize a large number of Purple Mansion Realm cultivators to attack the Green Willow State. Currently, it seemed that a small number of Purple Mansion Realm cultivators wouldn't be of much use and might even die there. Golden Core cultivators didn't dare to rashly go either. Not to mention the pressure from the 2 sects. If Golden Core cultivators entered the Sky Beheading Mountain range, it would be fine if they didn't use force. Once they used force and angered a 4th-tier demon beast, it wouldn't be a small matter. It might cause a beast tide. At that time, the Underworld sect would be attacked from 3 sides by the 2 sects and the beast tide. They would definitely die. Last time they had been tricked by the 2 sects and had suffered heavy losses. They couldn't afford any more casualties. Furthermore, even if they took over the Green Willow State, they wouldn't have much to gain. They would still have to send people to defend against the demon beasts and expend their own strength. If they couldn't fight, they could only use conciliation. Both sides discussed and decided that the Green Willow State would lower their stance and let the Underworld sect have some face. Everyone was pursuing a higher cultivation. It wasn't good to fight and kill. In the end, both sides reached an agreement. The Green Willow State apologized to the Underworld sect and compensated them with a total of 100,000 spirit stones. As for the Underworld sect, they said that the Green Willow State knew their mistakes and could change. They would let this matter go. This was just what was on the surface. Outsiders didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. You're tuning in to the Zhou Xian's Legacy YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.